Hello and welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We are live and it is Friday night. Last show of the year, ladies and gentlemen. What a way to go out on. Although, apologies once again for the technical difficulties. It was my bad. I'm so sorry, guys. This crap happens. What are you going to do? But we were going to have a full show tonight, but unfortunately there were some technical issues with Nico. Now, to be fair, he is looking to get those resolved, and we are hoping to still get him in for at least a good bit of the discussion tonight. Because, look, we're talking about one thing tonight. Just one thing. And we're going to be talking about a movie that I know for a fact stirred me quite a bit. It stirred me like James Bond likes his martinis. It stirred me in a way that I didn't think was emotionally possible. And of course, I am talking about what will win Best Picture of the Year at the Golden Raspberry Awards, that being Cats. And here to talk about this with me is, of course, Kees Cornelisse. Kees, how are you doing tonight, and are you looking forward to this discussion on Cats?
I actually quite disagree with you on that point because I think it will get the Best Picture Oscar. It should, at least. There's some great songs. There's some phenomenal acting. The visual effects. Have you seen them? This movie moved me beyond anything, and I was like, "Wow, this movie's phenomenal. I love it so much."
I mean, okay. We tried to do that with a straight face. I'm sorry. Oh no, you'll hear me get more into Cats in like 2 or 3 weeks whenever we do our worst of the year episode. But anyway, guys, how are y'all doing tonight? Please sound off in the chat who we've got. I do see Nico in there, so thank you for at least being here, because Comcast really did screw you over, my friend. And I hope to God they can fix that within the next 2-3 hours. But it's fine. Brian Nussbaum, our China 6 captain, I know you're in there, sir. K-Wolf, our China 6 captain, I see you're in there as well. Ingle, listen, we love you. So you are definitely a member of the China 6 Army. I just don't know if we can call you a captain yet.
He's more like a lieutenant.
At the moment. But still. China 6 lieutenant, good to see you as well. Peck, always good to see you as well. So yeah, guys, obviously this is our last show of the year. Unfortunately. And while I'd love to say that, this is going to be your traditional Who Cares Anyway, no, there's way too much to talk about tonight. There's way too much to get into. And I don't want to just jump straight in, because, it's been a week. And we've had quite a bit happen, I'd say, including the just beautiful ending of The Mandalorian Season 1, which we'll get more, we got more into when Mandalorian drops later tonight. But seriously, just real fast, Case, once more, for the camera. How awesome was that episode? Yeah, that's...
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Yes.
I think it's kind of universally agreed upon that right now The Mandalorian is the best thing in Star Wars.
Well, it seems to really reunite the fan base, which was scattered for years because everyone hated The Force Awakens, then everyone hated The Last Jedi, then everyone hated Rogue One and Solo and everything that has been coming out. And The Mandalorian seems to be like the one thing that people agree on. Like, wait, what?
Yeah. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that this would be the thing that people can actually say, "Oh, this is good." It's just internet. I don't understand you sometimes. Like, you claim to have loved this thing for as long as you've been alive, but all you fucking do is criticize every little thing that can be criticized about this thing that you claim you love. Like, seriously, well, who the fuck are you? Are you Star Trek fans? Seriously.
Star Trek fans are at least more consistent.
You know what? Touche. It's just I don't get it. I really don't get it. So yeah,
No.
that's the that's the kind of thing that's on my mind right now. But Brian Nussbaum, they're probably Michael Bay fans. Probably.
But hey, if you like dumb explosions, why didn't you like the previous movies?
I don't know. I have no
Like
idea.
in particular, Rogue One.
Right? Which I'll still argue as one of the best battle sequences in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, no, but they hate Rogue One.
I don't
Terrible
get it.
character.
Yeah, who cares anyway, right? But yeah. So is it time to rip the Band-Aid off?
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, guys. This is basically going to be the show for the next however long we need. We're going to go literally scene by scene of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And we're going to talk about what we loved. We're going to talk about some complaints. And, yes, towards the end of the show, we will definitely encourage some popcorn and some drinks. But not right away.
Yeah.
But not right away because we have a crawl to get through. The dead speak. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Yes. Sorry. Last warning. In 5,
spoilers.
4. Full spoilers. Last warning for spoilers. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Kylo Ren dies.
Yeah. The dead speak. And Palpatine's back with no explanation. So
None.
nope. But we open up.
No. The explanation is a line from Revenge of the Sith, and that's a great line. But if that's your explanation, fuck you, screenwriters Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams, for giving such a fuck up explanation.
Yeah, I'm kind of with him on that
Also,
one.
Something that I realized about the Kroll, this has way more capitalized words than any other Kroll.
Oh yeah, there's like 5 things capitalized in this.
Like Resistance, First Order, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Rey, this, that. It's like, okay, relax, hold your horses, Jesus Christ. Already this Kroll was like, oh, they're throwing everything at us. Oh boy, we're in for something.
But it's not like I can't expect that when we've when you have such a quote unquote controversial film like Last Jedi, and what are they trying to do? They're trying to not necessarily go back to playing it safe, but clearly JJ was trying to make a sequel to his film as opposed to just continuing the story that was already left off. But listen, you guys know how I've been talking about Back to the Future video essay for a while now. I have some. I've started typing up the notes for that, and when this thing drops on digital, expect something Star Wars related. Just gonna give you a little heads up on that right now. But so we open up, and Kylo is completely destroying this entire civilization to grab something called a Sith Wayfinder, which totally did not exist before this movie.
Why could they not just say Sith Holocron? Every person who is a little familiar with canon knows that Sith Holocrons are a thing, that they're awesome, and you could just say that. But no, JJ has no fucking clue about what canon and legends is, so no, a Sith Wayfinder.
I'll admit I was a little disappointed with that too, but simultaneously, I didn't care because the little womb-ish place that you have to fly through to get to the Sith planet, that's awesome. 2, Exegol itself is beautifully designed. Holy shit.
To be fair, this movie is beautiful from the get-go. Like with that battle where Kylo Ren is wrecking shop with everyone, that looks awesome. And then to Exegol, like everything on Exegol just looks and feels so cool. It's awesome. It truly
Which is why I can forgive this movie's first middle finger to me, which is Exegol itself. And so, you brought up the whole canon legends. Why not bring that thing up, Case? would it have killed you guys to have called it Korriban or Moraband?
Okay, to be fair, this is pretty much how the rest of the movie is. Missed opportunities in terms of both legends and canon references that they should have made, could have made, didn't make.
Yeah. But yeah, this is like one of the only ones that actually pisses me off. The rest I'm fine with, but like this is one of the ones that like I'm actually. But Kylo shows up, and as he's going down this descending platform thing, which again, oh my god, beautiful, I love the statues, and the lightning effects, and it's just it literally is something out of a horror film, and I'm just like, yee! But of course, we have we have Palpatine, doing his whole "Welcome to the dark side, my boy. I see Snoke trained you well. I killed Snoke." And Kylo and him are having a little dialogue back and forth, and then we see this like vat of half-finished Snoke bodies, and because he's like, "I created Snoke," and it's like,
this is the biggest fuck you that they could have done to Snoke, I feel, because by the way, this is literally J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio figuring out how to do Snoke without doing Snoke, because of course Snoke died in Last Jedi, but they were like, shit, but we needed him. Emperor! Do you have an explanation for that? No, but Emperor, because we need to have a big baddie to redeem Kylo and stuff like that. Also, this was totally the alien resurrection part of the movie. This was literally Ripley walking into that room with all the prototypes, seeing, like, really? Alien Resurrection? I like that movie, but it's terrible.
I was actually okay with this. Because okay, here's the thing. Snoke had fuck all to do in Force Awakens, and Last Jedi, he was literally just there to die. So, to me, It just makes sense that if Palpatine were to come back, he would use an avatar of sorts to be his surrogate, which is what, Snoke wound up being. And you know what? When you're coming from that angle, I'm fine with that. I'm totally cool with that because, again,
I'm okay with it too. It's just Alien Resurrection.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, the shots are very much like Alien Resurrection. But as the scene progresses, we finally see Palpatine in the flesh, at least what's left of it. And my God, did he look great. Like, okay, sure, he looked like, shit, what's that joke from Robot Chicken? He looked like feet wrapped in a leathery burnt bacon. But simultaneously, the makeup and the effects, especially around the eyes, that dude looked dead, and I loved it.
Look, and can we also acknowledge, regardless of what you thought of the Emperor being in this movie and the usage of him, because there are definitely arguments to be made he shouldn't have been in this movie. Ian McDiarmid is the best to play this role, and he hasn't lost his touch.
No, not in the slightest. Like, seriously, he playing Palpatine comes so naturally to him, and I love it. Because shit, big shock, Palpatine is one of my favorite characters. He's like one of the best villains in all of fiction for me.
Yep.
So, was I displeased with his performance? No. He was one of the best things about this movie, in my opinion.
Okay, so how much of a hard-on did he get when he set the dark ways?
So when I heard one of my favorite lines in Revenge of the Sith, the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. I can swear to God, my boner went about 10 feet in the air, so...
Fucking knew it.
Shameless. Because, look, bullshit explanation, but I kind of don't care because at least it gave me something to work with. So they have this great bit of dialogue, and he's like, you know, all of this will be yours if you kill the girl. You know, which of course he's talking about Rey.
Yeah,
And
of
we'll
course.
get to why in a bit, which is the other sort of frustrating thing that I'm actually okay with, but simultaneously I'm like, we'll get to my problem with it at the end of the show. But so they have the conversation, and then we cut to the Falcon, you know, doing that awesome, you know, Force Awakens Falcon shot, and it's Finn, Poe, who, spoiler alert, don't end up together in this movie, and I'm fucking mad about that, and Chewie.
Ah, dear.
You know, so you have those characters, and they're off to this, you know, ice, water, igloo planet, I'm just going to call it.
Again, it's beautiful.
Fucking
It looks
gorgeous. Ugh. Because they're meeting up with a contact with some very important news. That apparently there's a spy in the First Order for them.
beautiful. The spy. Oh my god, that was honestly funny. The spy.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But so, you know, they're sending this information to R2 with a message, and you know, and they're asking, you know, how can we repay you for this? And the guy's just like, win the war.
And
And then, of course, they're getting chased by like 30 freaking TIE fighters, and it's ridiculous.
it is quite ridiculous, and this scene becomes quite ridiculous, and this is where the movie already starts to be cluttered, where it does too much in too short of time span, and it just wants to, like, because they introduce this thing called light speed skipping, and they go to a planet and you see this planet, and now you go to another planet and you see this planet. It's like, can I breathe for a fucking second? I can't. You cannot breathe for a second during this sequence, and it's honestly exhausting, and that I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that it was so fucking fast. That's already like an indication how the rest of the movie is going to go at this point, because we open with Kylo Ren, then we go to this, then we go to Rey, and it goes to there, and it goes to there, and like, let me breathe for a second. Jesus Christ.
Oh, actually, I didn't realize that. So their contact on that ice planet, apparently voiced by Mark Hamill. Thank you, Pat.
Nice.
Thank you for that fun bit, that fun tidbit of information. So that happens. They get away because they wind up on the Dune planet, and the sandworm from Dune eats the last two TIE fighters.
Yeah.
You know, which actually, I wonder if that actually was Blengiel, a planet from Jedi Academy, where you know, we're trying to avoid getting eaten by giant ass sandworms. But still, I'm actually fine with how fast-paced this opening is. I know it's super fast and super crazy. I kind of love the chaos, though. You know,
No. Look, that's the thing. I can see why people would like this. I just thought it was
too much.
a little too much.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, and speaking of Rey, we do cut to her, and we're obviously setting up her big moment in the end, where she's meditating, she's calm, she's collected, she's doing, you know, she's really in control of the Force now, you know, because she's been training for the last year. And
seriously, can we just say that she was completely the Avatar with the stones around her in the circles?
Yeah, I was waiting for water to start showing up, and I was waiting for someone to like shoot some fire out of their hands so that way it could be floating around her too, like in the Sozin's Comet finale. But
Yep.
you know, I was fine with it. You know, and she has this little moment of, be with me, because she's trying to get a hold of the other Jedi.
They're not with me.
They're not with me.
That was funny.
That was funny. Like seriously, her delivery, like her comedic moments in this movie, loved them. Almost every single one of them.
Point. They're pretty on point here, and truly, it does show that Daisy Ridley can be good. Not always. She does need the right director, but I do feel that JJ really does get a good performance out of her.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and then while that's going on, Leia enters the scene with, again, using what limited footage they had. I think she was used well. I understand that they had to write the movie around what they had, and
Yes.
I understand why that's a problem for some people. For me, though, and in terms of how everything plays out, it still works for me.
The way they wrote around Leia, I don't really have an issue with that. It is just it's just you can clearly see that they wrote around her dialogue because her dialogue is a little generic and has some like, okay, we need to make sure the character says this so it connects to this and then we go to there. That was clearer to me because but I will already say, like, yeah, it was very impressive what they managed to do with it.
Yeah.
Because they did write Leia into this. Unfortunately, not the way that they wanted to. But yeah, that's what can you do?
What are you gonna do, indeed? So yeah, you may notice I'm just going back to myself for a moment because we're going to try, hopefully, to have Nico come back on the show to be the negative Nancy on the podcast. Well, no, and I use that term rather, loosely, because no, how it's actually, I would say this best, is now we have the balance of the Force. We have the guy who loves this movie unapologetically, the guy who's in the middle, and I wouldn't say negative one, but just the one with the other opinion. That being, of course, Nico, you are back. Yay!
Thank you, Comcast, for getting off your ass and finally deciding to turn my Wi-Fi and cable back on.
Yay!
So yeah, now we're all back. We're all here, finally. All right, so Nico, did you have anything really important you wanted to get out about everything from the crawl up to Rey's training scene?
You could tell that the scenes with Leia, and I think Kees had probably already mentioned it.
Yeah.
I'm saying it with assumption because like I was trying to listen in another room.
He just got done talking about that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I just said it.
So yeah, like it felt a little out of place there, but upon first viewing, I was okay with it because I was like along with the ride. But second viewing, I was just like disinterested because I knew what was going to happen. So if that makes sense.
Gotcha. No, that's fine. And so with this first dialogue scene, Rey goes on a little training course that apparently she and Leia both kind of set up together, which, I just don't get how people are saying Rey is a total Mary Sue and is overpowered and whatnot, because I'm sorry. Seeing this particular sequence, I'm fine with seeing her finally see what she can do with her abilities. Like,
to be fair, this is the movie where she's the most OP out of all the movies.
Well,
but here it makes sense.
Yes.
Here it makes sense for her to be OP because she's had all this training with Luke Skywalker. She's got all the Jedi textbooks. She's trying to connect with the other masters of the past. And she has Leia teaching her as well. Apparently, we now know that Leia has had some formal Force training beyond just floating like Mary Poppins through space. So she's getting the training to become the best possible Jedi she can be. And under that logic, that makes sense to me. Throw in the fact that, hey, she was a skilled fighter from having to struggle for at least a decade and a half on a planet on her own in the desert where she had to struggle to survive. Basically, the stuff we've seen, if not for the fact that you can make that mental connection of like, oh, she's had to do other things to become this professional survivalist that she is, then she'd be a Mary Sue. But no, she's someone who's struggled and figured out how to get her, how to just survive in this tough galaxy.
Yeah.
Look, the only reason that there was that argument of a Mary Sue is because one very overrated screenwriter in fucking Hollywood should shut his fucking mouth once in a while instead of say what he thought. Because Max Landis, fuck you for bringing that thought into the world, which is fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And fuck you for a lot of other things.
Although, unfuck you for Chronicle, because that movie's awesome. But, fuck you for a lot of other things. That said, as she's running through the training course this time, the probe droid, or the training remote that she usually works with, it's getting a little snippy with her. It's almost like it's being possessed by someone who was tasked to kill her. But there's no way he could actually bring himself to actually kill her, because, he might have feelings for her. But yeah, Kylo Ren essentially kind of takes over the train remote for a moment to.
I read that scene differently. I read it as Kylo Ren was tapping into Rey's mind, distracting her essentially, trying to figure out where she was, what she was doing. And Rey was like, "Stop distracting me," and therefore the remote was like, "Okay, I can just shoot at you." And Rey just misses, and why am I missing? Because Kylo Ren is distracting her. I thought it was like that.
Yeah, I kind of saw it the same way Case did. Of like Kylo's tapping into her brain, she's getting thrown off, and she's like, "Where's my groove? Why can I not find my groove? I'm usually good at this and getting the droid." And that's why she starts swinging harder and harder and more recklessly, and she's just making more and more basic mistakes.
See, my only thing with that is that she's not distracted until she freezes after she's destroyed the probe or the remote, and then she's has those flashbacks of no, join me, and we gained that little bit, which I'll admit that was some pretty sloppy editing. I was kind of getting some Halloween 6 flashbacks, but anywho, So so that scene happens. It wraps up, and I found it rather weird that she gives back the lightsaber to Leia. Is it because
it was completely pointless, because she gives it back and gets it back a scene later, I believe.
Yeah, 2 scenes later, something like that. But now, from a story perspective, I kind of got it because she broke the saber technically in Last Jedi.
Yes. Fuck this. It broke in half. There is no explanation whatsoever that this thing is suddenly repaired. I don't care how long it's been. That she should have her own lightsaber. It should be yellow, as is revealed at the end, for fuck's sakes. She should have her own lightsaber. The lightsaber breaking in half in The Last Jedi should have meant something. It means fuck all. It means nothing. Are you fucking kidding me? It's frustrated me beyond anything. Jesus Christ.
Oh, and Nico's muted.
Oh, yeah, Nico's muted.
Still muted.
Nico, what are you doing, man?
For God's sakes. All right, here.
Wait. Hold on. Am I on?
Yes.
Am I on?
Yes.
Sorry. I switched to a different microphone and I forgot to adjust the settings. There we go. Okay. So JJ, you like George Lucas's philosophy on poetry. You like it when you tap into the old stuff and bring it around back. Mm-hmm. What's the big thing in Return of the Jedi? Luke lost his dad's lightsaber in The Empire Strikes Back, and he goes and makes a new one for Return of the Jedi.
Great, and it's awesome.
This would have been a great moment for you to set up Rey, as she's done her training under these other people, but now she's finding her own self as a Jedi, as a Force user, and her own lightsaber is proof of that. But no, we're still hanging on to this whole parallels of old thing. And the last movie, The Last Jedi, was all about becoming your own person. It's not about your family legacy. It's about the choices you make. And yet you just undid all of it. And this is a sign of that. Enough with the Skywalker lightsaber. Enough with the hero's blade. It's time to move on to the king's blade, because her name is Spanish for king. And it looks like a crown too.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, look. Neither of you are wrong. I would have been fine if there was just a quick scene to... Now, here's the thing. About the lightsaber.
There's nothing.
I'm okay with it because of what happens at the end. only reason I'm okay with it.
I'm not. I will never be, and I will never understand anyone who is okay with this. It completely like this is one of the examples that they betray the Last Jedi. They don't give a shit about what happened in the Last Jedi in terms of like meaningful stuff.
Fair enough. So that happens. And as she's, sort of been pushing herself to do some, just some personal studying, going back to hitting the books like Nico was doing all year for wrapping up college. The Falcon comes back and, coming in a little hot. Let me just adjust that real fast. My apologies. And, okay. She gets into a little bit of a spat with Poe about the Falcon. And Poe is quick to respond because she accidentally let a tree land on BB-8, which was pretty funny.
Yep.
Did anyone else feel like that was them trying to possibly suggest them as a romance?
No.
Okay, good. Because I was worried that was JJ trying to, like, psych us out by going that route. I'm like, oh, you know.
You can already see the clear difference between how Rey meets Poe and Rey meets Finn after the Falcon is back. Because Rey meets Poe, that's just hostility, and they might be somewhat friends, but friends give each other crap, especially if it's rightfully so. In this case, like, you fucked up my ship, you fucked up my droid. Yeah, but Rey and Finn is way more believable in this scene because the way that they greet each other, that was very nice, heartfelt, and I was like, this is nice.
And in a way, the dichotomy between Rey and Poe is sort of like it's sort of like JJ is having an internal struggle of which one of his main characters he wants to push. So he's like having them literally fight on screen and have an argument of like, no, my way is better. No, my way is better. And that fight never really gets resolved because both problems are fixed. But nevertheless, yeah.
Fair enough. And as they're going through basically a quick briefing scene of, Palpatine's now back, and this is actually one of my biggest issues with this movie. So when we first hear the announcement of, Palpatine's back, he's unleashing the Final Order, big old Sith fleet. Does somebody want to tell me how long they had until attack started?
Like 12 hours.
16 hours.
Yeah, 16 hours. Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, that's like my main issue with this movie is that time does not work that fast in Star Wars.
This is, again, the movie trying to be way faster than it should be.
But this is also a JJ thing. Let's be fair here, because Star Trek 09 and Into Darkness were both riddled with like events happening way faster than they actually would be in that universe.
Yep.
So,
and also like, what is a planetary rotation? Like, don't these planets have different rotation lengths?
They do.
So like,
okay, yes they do, but they have set. This is actually like a bit of a throwaway line in The Force Awakens, but it is said there's a galactic standard time all planets stick to, at least.
Yes, at least all planets under the Republic, because Coruscant was essentially viewed as the central hub back in the days of the Republic, and they just kind of carried over through the Empire, and obviously well after that, even though they moved to Hazian Prime, yada 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 yada. Still
works the same.
Yes, which I'm fine with that, but simultaneously it's like 16 hours, huh? The events this movie take place in 16 hours?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna call crap on that. I'm gonna call a lot of crap on that.
Look, if you want to have, if you wanted a good like reference, do 47 hours. HK.
Or here, how about in 2 weeks, which is how long that would actually take. In 2 weeks, Palpatine's gonna unleash a Sith fleet that will annihilate the galaxy. Okay, now we got some stakes. Now it's believable. Now we can do this. But JJ, baby, what the fuck are you doing? All right. Anywho, so Ray,
I actually think that's also a Chris Terrio thing, a little bit. At least.
kind of.
And also, now that I think about it, Palpatine always kept his moves close to the vest.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
for him to put out an announcement
No.
galaxy-wide.
But Palpatine wants to be seen. He wants
As-
everyone to see.
I would say that's the difference this time around. Is like, sure, before when nobody knew who he actually was, yeah, he had to keep everything close to the chest. But now that he's been gone for 30 years and people have kind of started to forget about him, no, you'd want to make that big of a public power play.
Okay, I can work with that justification.
Yeah. So, obviously, while that briefing's going on, Rey goes back to her books for a second and finds a page about the Sith Wayfinder, which Case and I have our thoughts on. But
It is a holocron.
it's a fucking holocron. Just call it a fucking holocron. Is that too much to fucking ask? Anyway. So it's agreed upon that she's going to go out and try to find the other one. Because obviously, Kylo found the one. Now she's got to go find the other one. And it sounds like we're heading to a planet called Pisana. And as much as she's trying to say, no, I have to do this alone, I'm glad they didn't spend too much time on this trope of, no, I have to go alone. No, we're coming with you. Oh, you are my best friends. It's like, no, just take the fucking group with you, Rey. Because you know what? I'm kind of sick of this group getting split up because that's all they've been is split up.
They've been split up throughout the other movies. It's just nice to see them all together.
Yeah.
And it was honestly very nice to see Chewie, 3PO of the original cast, of course, who's still alive on the Falcon, and then Rey, Poe, and Finn, the new trio. Because they haven't really been a trio yet. In the first movie, Rey and Finn, Poe and Rey, not so much. Poe and Rey don't meet until The Last Jedi, the end of The Last Jedi. So it's nice to see them together.
And I'll say this. It is nice to see them together. I just wish they had left one particular member behind. And I get it. Some people have some issues with her from the way she was written in the last movie. But I feel like Rose Tico cemented herself as a main character in the last movie and therefore should be treated as a main character in this one and get to go on the mission with the core group.
Yeah, they explain it away in terms of she needs to figure out the design of old Star Destroyers so that they have a better chance at fighting them. But there has been a hashtag going around, Rose Tico deserved better, I believe, because in the screen time in The Last Jedi for her is over 10 minutes. This is just over a minute. That is insane. That's not okay.
No, it's not okay. And while, was I a fan of her character in The Last Jedi? Honestly, not really, but that's because I was not a fan of how she was written. I think Kelly Marie Tran is still going to have a hell of a career ahead of her, and she should have a hell of a career ahead of her. But she got screwed by both people in this trilogy, and it sucks. It's like, you finally put an Asian in a lead role in Star Wars, and you just screwed them badly.
Not only in the movies, but also when she got a bad reaction in the first movie she was in, she was removed completely off of all the merch for the second movie she's in. So it's like the bullies won. It feels like the bullies won.
Also, can we please address the fact that Dominic Monaghan was only cast in this movie for the sake of Dominic Monaghan being in this movie? Because that could have been Rose.
That could have been Rose.
Rose could have had more screen time in that character role. Because honestly, who was he? We never met him before. There was no reason for him to be in there. Just, we have Dominic Monaghan in a movie, but he did fuck all. He was exposition trained when we needed him.
And there are two other characters who they get more screen time, but they're still part of that same problem of they're characters.
Conics. Good God. What did she do in this movie?
Yeah, there are characters who get introduced and then really don't get fleshed out. They're just there for window dressing. And it takes attention away from the other characters that we've spent 2 movies, one movie at least, getting to know and getting to understand what makes them tick. And yeah. What's your next point, Chris? What's your next point to make?
Yeah. But I think that's also been, again, coming back to what has sort of been the main talking point of there was no plan. And it's stupidly obvious. Because, again, as I'll keep teasing this until this drops on digital and I can actually make this happen, that, to go on a side tangent for just 2 seconds here. So you guys know how I've been talking about that Back to the Future video essay? That's kind of going to be coming out next month. Yeah, I'm already starting to work on that, so finally. But when Rise of Skywalker drops on digital, I'm going to make something similar to how I'll do that Back to the Future essay on the sequel trilogy. And essentially give it a plan. At least my version of what that plan would look like.
Well, the thing is that you had The Force Awakens, and Rian Johnson saw The Force Awakens and was like, oh, there are very interesting things that I can work with, and he tried to do as much as he can, but give it a little bit of a spin to, subvert expectations, which I thought was very interesting, and he introduced he did a lot with this movie, which was very interesting, good setup, and then JJ was like, I don't like that, I'm going to do my own thing. So everything that it had going for it, it was squandered. And it's simply because, Rian Johnson worked on his own in that movie. JJ, no way. JJ, first of all, wasn't even supposed to direct this movie. It was Colin Trevorrow, which makes me very interested to see how that version would have turned out of this movie. But what we got, it's just JJ doing his own thing.
Yeah. So, all right. Enough stalling on that point. Let's go to Pisana, where I feel, for me, the movie finally really started kicking into high gear, and I was just on board. I was just fully into this thing. Because, you know what? Seeing the crew interact with each other, especially in the desert, as they're walking up to the Aki Festival, that is, of course, held once every 42 years.
Mm-hmm. Reference.
Yeah. 2019 minus 42 is 1977. Anywho, and then here, Rey and Kylo Ren finally have their first Force Skype call, and I'm like, thank you for keeping this in, JJ. Thank you for keeping the bond alive and well. And so...
My ship or ship?
Right. But something I noticed... In all the Force Skype calls, especially in this first one, Kylo doesn't say anything that aggressive to her. He's not coming off as angry. He's not coming off as trying to be, super evil. It's always Rey who's on the aggressive side. Now, in fairness to her, she gave Kylo a chance last film, and that bit her right in the ass. But, and we'll get into where I have a real big problem with this in the, later on in the film. But I'm not sure how to feel about why she's still so mad about what happened on the Supremacy.
And here's the thing. Again, this goes back to more of the undoing of the Last Jedi narrative. If you look at how The Last Jedi played out, Rey had a lot of darkness in her at the beginning of the movie, and Kylo had a lot of light in him that was still making its way through. And then the more they interacted, the more it kind of flip-flopped to where Rey had fully embraced the light and Kylo had fully embraced the dark. And now we're back to here, back to the original director of The Force Awakens, and we've kind of gone back to where Kylo is not fully committed to the dark side, and Rey is still struggling internally with the balance of light and dark herself. So it goes back to that whole thing of like, we had a movie where some stuff was resolved, and then it unresolves itself here to an
Actually,
extent.
I disagree. I honestly think that one thing that The Last Jedi showed us is that both characters, Kylo and Rey, are conflicted within themselves, and they don't believe everything that is being presented to them. Like Kylo reached out his hand, seeing that essentially the alternate reality of what Rey saw of herself. Because what we see in this movie, Rey sees herself as the dark side, and Kylo thought, "Oh, that could be Rey at one point." That's why he extended the hand. They also have the conversation where Kylo says, "You wanted to take my hand," and Rey admits she wanted to take the hand. I just think that in the moment when Rey denied him and tried to grab the lightsaber instead, but Kylo was just mad. He was just really mad at her, like, "Are you kidding me? I did this all for you. I wanted to start clean, and you deny me." He was just mad because what do we know from Kylo? He throws anger tantrums. So yeah, he was just throwing a tantrum. I feel at the end of that movie where he was just mad, like, "Okay, fuck this all. I hate you all. Let's get rid of this all, including Rey, if I have to." But since The Last Jedi, there has been a year, so Kylo is okay. Still in that conflicted soul, he's now also being presented with this emperor. He doesn't know if he wants that or not. That's why, honestly, Kylo is the best fucking character in this trilogy. Despite the fact that he might throw a tantrum at some point, he is always conflicted, and you always feel his confliction. And it's mostly because Adam Driver is so goddamn genius. But yeah, I truly felt that the progression of their characters, both Rey and Kylo, it did feel natural. And I did quite like how they progressed their characters through this movie.
Yeah. And it's through that conversation that, right as he's wrapping up, he grabs her necklace that was given to her by a little girl who's part of the species.
And who wanted to know the last name?
Yeah, because, we got
that's already your first indication.
Okay. Anyway. So, steals it. She has to run back to the group, tell them what's going on, because now they've been found out by Ren. And there happens to be a stormtrooper who is ready to try to kill them. But that stormtrooper takes a crossbow to the eye. Lovely. And, so said shooter of said crossbow is like, "Follow me." In a super mechanized voice, so you can't really tell who it is until they show up in this, like, I don't know, mask cart or something. It's, whatever.
Weird.
Very weird. And, of course, that's where we get our introduction of Lando Calrissian. And you know what? I hate to say it. Billy D. Williams has not lost a single step. He still got it.
Okay, but can we at least acknowledge that there was no need for him to be in this movie?
Yeah.
Look, it is very nice to see him again. But especially considering that he wasn't in the first two, there was no reason for him to be in this movie. Other than that, it was awesome to see him again.
Yep.
Like, same thing as Wedge. He had a fucking cameo, but it was nice to see him again.
Nico?
This is one member burial happily eat, because Billy D. Williams is the smoothest man alive.
He really is.
Like, my mom had a big crush on him growing up. So like,
Mama
I'm pretty sure every single person of her generation had a crush on Billy D. Williams at some point. Like, he's just that smooth of a dude. But why is he there? Like, he explains why he's there in that he went on a mission with Luke a long time ago. Well, why is he still on that planet? Is he just going to enjoy the festival, and he just happens to also be in disguise and keeping tabs with Leia? Too much convenience going on here for him to be there. And then he's like, he says his flying days are over, but then he changes his mind several scenes into the movie later, and there's no explanation as to why he changed his mind. So like, why didn't he just say, "Sure, I'll pop in and give her a call"? Like, there was no expectations for us to subvert.
No.
Nope. But I don't care when he shows up later.
honestly, you could have just had Lando in the Resistance helping them out, and no one would have cared. The way that it did it is just wrong because suddenly we're asking questions that we shouldn't ask. If you just have Lando be in the Resistance flying the Falcon, no one would have given a shit.
Nope. But what are you going to do with that one? So, as all that's going down, we hear about this Jedi Hunter. Ochi. Oh, shit, I already forgot the last name.
Is this guy the same species as Maz Kanata?
No.
Oh.
No, way taller.
He could just be a tall version of the species.
Maybe, but nah, it didn't look enough like him or enough like her. Either way, this guy Ochi, who apparently had been to the planet some odd number of years before, ironically the same amount of time as when Rey was first on that planet. And so, but apparently his ship was still on the planet. So now we have to go find the ship, and we have to avoid getting captured by the First Order. So after what is, in my opinion, a really fun speeder chase sequence that does end a little too abruptly, I think.
It ends comedically.
Yes.
And that's probably not the right tone to end it with.
No. But
Also, then they get into this quicksand or the sinking fields, and Finn wants to say something to Rey, and that never gets resolved. That is like setup and nothing. Failure. That's not how you write a fucking script.
mystery
Right
box.
out of the Chris Terrio playbook, a la Batman v Superman and Justice League.
Pretty much.
Yep. So, yeah, and which, by the way, all that he was trying to say was, Rey, I think I can use the Force. Whoa. Good for you.
Yeah, was that needed for this movie?
No, it wasn't.
Wait, that's what he was trying to say?
Yeah.
Well, okay, it was either that or Rey, I have a crush on you.
Thank God it was the former.
But yeah, that's the thing. This was the confirmed by the director that he wanted to say that, but still, was this
Mystery
needed?
box?
No. Yeah, fuck your mystery box.
Yeah. So, after everyone sinks into the sinking fields, and we're in this nice, pretty awesomely designed cave.
Yeah.
The group's all reunited, and Rey pops out a lightsaber to use as a light, which led to a moment that cracked me right the fuck up.
Oh, with flashlight.
Yeah, so Poe tries to use his flashlight like a lightsaber, which, come on. You're going to tell me you guys didn't do that when you were kids?
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just... tries to act all cool about it. I'm like...
And I'll give this like 10-minute section of scenery some props because it does have some good humorous elements to it. From C-3PO looking behind himself when he's trying.
Yes.
Like that's funny when they say they fly now. They fly now. They fly now.
They fly now.
That's funny. That like I'll give you that. And of course Poe trying to look competent with his flashlight while Rey just has his lightsaber, and everyone just gives him the look of, really, dude. Like that's funny. So I'll give you that at least the stuff that happened on this planet, there's good humor to it, and I have a feeling a lot of what we see on this planet is going to be very fun to play in the Lego game coming out later next year.
Yes.
Yeah, quite.
That is going to be a blast. I can already tell.
Yeah, there were a couple of funny and quippy lines of dialogue where also at the beginning, like, no spy. Also, one of those moments where that's funny.
So, Finn, what were you trying to tell me? Yeah, Finn, what were you trying to tell us? Were you going to tell her when Poe wasn't around? Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to tell her when Poe wasn't around. He literally just said that.
Oh, God. Seriously, why couldn't those two just get together? Ugh. Anyway. So they're exploring these caves, and again, beautiful production design. Holy shit, I'm loving every second of it. And they find Ochi's body. Because, of course, the guy died, you know. And, excuse me. Woo, hello. As they find this dagger that essentially has the position of the Wayfinder on it. And the only person who can translate is, of course, 3PO, because, you know, you got 6 million forms of communication. You'd figure he at least has some idea of how to translate Sith. But because Sith is a forbidden language. Now, this is actually something from canon and legends that is 100% real in the Star Wars universe. Literally, protocol droids are not allowed to translate Sith. That is straight up a thing.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, yeah, unfortunately, the one time they want 3PO to talk, he can't talk. Irony, sir. But while all of this is going, down, we have a random monster, and it's a big old, it's another big old worm and whatnot. But yes, Case.
Can I say that this worm reminded me of the worm that the rookies encounter in the episode Rookies? I mean, I think the design is a little different, but they look similar, and I would like to believe that's the same species,
or at least a cousin. I want to believe that too.
Yeah, somewhat related.
Yeah, and thank you for referencing one of my favorite Clone Wars episodes, Case. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
So, of course, while that's all that's happening, here we have the biggest plot point of the movie that totally isn't gonna pay off 2 more times. So this creature is very wounded. It's very scarred, and there's blood coming out of it. So rather than just blast it like Poe wants to, because this thing is scaring him, and he was just scared by bones because he doesn't do bones. Rey, in her infinite wisdom, gives her lightsaber to Finn, and she crouches down right level with the snake and heals it. Now, force healing has been a thing in Star Wars for like 20 plus years now. This is a power that's been around forever.
Yeah.
But we've never once seen it in live action to this extent.
Well, the thing is, that episode.
Yeah, what did you see earlier, The Mandalorian or The Rise of Skywalker? Because I saw The Rise of Skywalker first, but
same.
For me, I saw the Mandalorian episode first, so Baby Yoda did it first for me, and then I see Rey do it, and I'm like, okay, at least someone was having a conversation with somebody else.
Yeah, no, and look, all that I'm saying is, to that magnitude, we hadn't really seen it outside The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian, I think, is too recent of an example to make that to have that big of a revelation happen. If that makes sense.
That's the thing. It kind of came out on the same date, so
yeah. So that's, to me, understandable why people were very confused about that. To me, it makes perfect sense because again, I've been seeing this shit for a long fucking time.
Like I've played all the games, or a lot of games, and you can use heal. Actually, that's one of my favorite powers in Knights of the Old Republic because it's so fucking helpful.
And it's so OP, and I do not care.
And I do not care.
But yeah, so she does that, and of course the snake's nice enough to crack open a hole in the wall for them to get out. But as they're leaving, they spot Ochi's ship. They go towards it, but Rey, her force sense is tingling. So she walks out in the middle of the desert, and of course, who else would be coming but Kylo? Because of course, the Knights of Ren are also on the planet. And as they're firing up Ochi's ship, trying to see if that hunk of junk can even move, Chewie is asked by Finn to go get Rey, and subsequently is captured. We'll get more into that in just a second.
There are 2 transports.
I'm just saying the whole entire scene is bullshit because Chewie probably could have fought his way out.
By the way, the moment that they get to the Sith dagger and we see Ochi's ship, that was already like, oh boy, they're gonna give her eliminators, aren't they? Yep.
Yep. Yep. And of course, it was and as soon as she saw it, she's like, "That ship looks rather familiar. I've seen that ship before."
Yep.
And I'm like,
God damn it.
Shit. But as again, they're trying to take off, Chewie gets captured, and so on and so forth. We see a TIE fighter, and we knew about this since the very first teaser, when Kees and I nearly crapped ourselves. And we now see what happened when Rey did that flip. She sliced the wing off of Kylo's TIE silencer.
She destroyed that shit.
And my heart hurt a little bit because I actually really love that ship. In fact, Kees, if I recall correctly, if we look right behind you, we can actually see the ship right now.
Yeah, right there.
Yep. Nice. So, which then leads to one of the best things that I hate about this movie.
A weird way of saying it.
So, as Nico did point out, there are two transports. And one of these transports, we assume, is the one with Chewbacca on it, as Finn is quick to point out. So Rey uses the Force. She grabs the transport. She's starting to pull it back down to the planet's surface. I'm totally cool with this because I'm like, yee! And then out comes Kylo. And now he's trying to pull the transport down to where he's standing. And I'm like, yee! Force duel, yes! And Rey just is putting more and more into it. She's getting so much more angry and angrier and angrier until all of a sudden, bolt of lightning shoots straight up, blows up the ship, and for a hot second, I was tricked. I actually thought they had the balls to kill off Chewie.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I was kind of with Chris on this one. I thought because where was the second ship? No one saw a second ship anywhere. So I thought that's the one that Chewbacca's on, and Chewbacca just got barbecued by her best friend. So, well, by one of her close friends. You get the idea. I'm sorry, I'm screwing up my words now.
That's all right. That's all right.
But yeah, I thought he was dead, and I thought, oh God, now we have consequences for Rey to deal with. Of like, she's maybe because this is one of those moments where I was willing to forgive my thoughts of like, oh, like she went to the full light side in the last movie, but now the darkness is creeping back in, and like she doesn't know how to control it, and she saw what the consequences of it are by barbecuing the dog.
Yeah. Until literally the next scene where Hux and new character Allegiant General Pride are discussing the casualties of what happened on Pisana, until Hux says a line that killed me. Oh, but our other transport brought back a very valuable prisoner. And I'm like, oh, JJ, fuck you. I was actually mad about that.
I was okay with it.
And again, it's another difference between J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson will happily take risks for the sake of making a good movie. J.J. is too afraid to take risks because he doesn't want to piss off the fan base. And instead, he ends up pissing off the fan base even more by not taking any risks.
Oh, because Chewie is like the ultimate member berry.
Remember Chewbacca? I mean, that's a literal quote in that South Park episode.
Yeah, remember Chewbacca? Oh my God, I love Chewbacca. Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
Shut up.
So he's alive, and because he had the dagger with him, now everyone's kind of screwed. But as 3PO is all too quick to point out, he still has the he still has the location of the Wayfinder in his memory, but because it's Sith, he can't say what it is. So our lovable ragtag crew has to go find a blacksmith.
I honestly love the conversation that they have, where Poe is like, oh no, 3PO himself admits, well, in the old times, that there would sometimes be pirates who, it's either 3PO or Poe, I'm not entirely sure, but like pirates would hack into the droid's brain and get it out, but it's very dangerous. Yeah, it is 3PO who admits it himself, and Finn is like, let's do that. Yes. I was so relieved that they actually came up with that. They were like, yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to do this.
And I loved how they bookended the scene, even though Rey was just beating herself up, rightfully so. With, if they don't do this, Chewie died for nothing. So they have a cute little moment where they hold hands, and they say, for Chewie. And then 3PO grabs Poe's hand, and I'm just dying laughing because Poe is just so done with 3PO by this point. And I'm just like, yes, I love this.
Yeah, like, I don't know, but one was like, hands.
And now we're off to Kijimi. Boy, did I not care for this planet.
No. This is the moment where you can take a bathroom break.
Kind of. Because, oh no, it's a standard Imperial occupation. Whoop-de-doo. Although I will say, the introduction of Kerry Russell as Zuri Bliss was awesome. How she just comes out with a blaster pointing right at Poe's head, and you're like, oh shit.
I like her. I just wish they would have done more with her, fleshed her out a little bit,
Brought her with the group.
Exactly. But she's also part of another issue that I have here is that, again, we keep talking about how The Last Jedi was all about setting your own path. It's not about your past. It's not about your legacy. It's not about your family legacy. It's about the choices you make. And they, for some reason, felt it was necessary to bring up Poe's past of like him being a spice spice smuggler. Like, why does that matter? He's a resistance fighter now.
Actually, this goes against what has been established in canon. Poe is the son of two rebellion pilots who were actually in the Battle of Endor. And the funny thing is, something that I noticed recently, Poe and Kylo were conceived on the same day, the day after they won the Battle of Endor, which is awesome. Yeah. This is confirmed in the Shattered Empire comic, where we follow Shara Dameron, the mother of Poe, throughout a series of events. So they were pretty much conceived on the same day. They're kind of the same age, which is awesome. But because of the fact that Poe was the son of two rebellion pilots, he got into the New Republic fleet, the New Republic army, and he became a pilot in that. And that led to him being a resistance pilot. The one thing, where the fuck did he have time to be a spice runner?
I maybe fell on hard times 1 month of his entire life so that's the lone explanation I can think of.
This makes no sense. Chris, is your mind blown?
Yeah, it is actually. Wow. So okay, so if we can do that, then why the fuck don't Luke and Leia have a conception date yet? Anyway, sorry. Sorry. I'm okay with the Spice Runner thing because here's the thing: anyone can really be a drug dealer for a short amount of time, and it can have literally no impact on your life as far as you know it. Plus, it also it sounds like he wasn't part of that crew for very long.
No, that's true. He kind of betrayed them. it does lead to a very funny joke where they're like, "You were a spice runner, you were a stormtrooper, you were a spice runner, you
You're
were
a
a
scavenger.
scavenger."
You really want to do this right now?
And I'm at least grateful for that joke because it shows my point of like we all have pasts. What matters is what we do now. So like the fact that they're giving him so much crap for his past is just like we've gone past this. I feel like we've passed this moment.
I mean, Kylo literally had the best quote in the last movie with "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." Forget the fucking past already.
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Exactly. Thank you, Lucy.
You're welcome. So, after a really quick skirmish, because they try to sell him up, but Rey literally kicks all their asses, and it's kind of amazing. We're then taken to this, little bar place, and we're introduced to the meme of this movie, Babu Freak. Come on, Nico. Don't even pretend you don't love Babu Freak.
Oh no, both Dio and Babu Freak, I enjoyed them very much. Because Dio has like this innocence to him, and granted he's been through some stuff, and this is one of those moments where I'm like, okay, the past is okay to mention here because it's kind of shaped how this droid approaches interacting with humans. He's a little scarred, and he's trying to He's struggling to let his guard down a little bit. But Babu Freak, he just seems like a nice guy to hang around with, but he's also ridiculously shady. So he provides a lot of humor that, in a way, he's like the Hondo of this movie, but he doesn't say as much.
I mean, he can't really talk, but what he said, yeah. And this is still the thing that kind of blows my mind. Babu Frick is not voiced by a guy. He is Babu Frick is apparently a guy in the movie, but is voiced by where are you? Shirley Henderson, who is known as Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter.
So, Nico, when we go for those fandom team titles, you better remember that too.
We're gonna play a very, very lengthy game of 6 Degrees with Kevin Bacon.
Oh God, point. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be a fun one. So, as all this is going on, Kylo figured out, or because the Knights of Ren followed our group to Kijimi, Kylo, of course, shows up in his destroyer. Rey feels that Chewbacca's still alive, and they decide to go rescue him. And how do they get on the ship? Because Zuri has this captain's medallion from the First Order captain. I don't know how she got it. Must have killed the guy.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But bottom line is they get onto the destroyer as Kylo is heading down to the planet to try to find Rey. And we have probably the most fun time filler sequence of the movie.
Little.
Before we get to it, I just want to say, because I don't think we touched on it, props to Anthony Daniels for this heartfelt moment with C-3PO of having that one last look at his friends, quote unquote.
Okay. I want to touch on that for a second because we were led to believe from the trailer that this would be like the last goodbye. The moment that I realized that it happened in the movie, I was like, no, he's going to come back. R2 has his memory. And they mention it, and 3PO is like, you can't trust him. But I'm like, he's got his memory. He's going to come back. And he comes back. That's why it's so fucking meaningless in the end.
Well, plus, wouldn't BB-8 also probably have a backup?
But R2-D2's memory is notorious for having not been erased throughout the Clone Wars and not been erased throughout the original trilogy.
That's a good thing.
That is a very good thing.
It makes sense for him to put C-3PO's memory back. But again, Case is right to be mad that, like, oh, we have a heartfelt moment here, and just like what happened with Chewbacca earlier, no consequences.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's why, honestly, in a lot of ways, I consider I can't believe that I'm saying this because I really don't like Solo, but the screenplay of Solo is way better. It has a structure and it has setup and payoff that every setup has a payoff. This movie lacks that.
Yep. So, like I said, we're on the ship. The crew goes to get Chewie. And while okay, after a very quick, funny moment involving stormtroopers and a Jedi mind trick,
Oh yeah, that was great.
I love that. You're okay that we're here. We're okay that you're here. You are relieved that we're here. Oh, we're so relieved you're here. Hey
Thank
guys,
God.
what's up? It's like, come. That was so perfect. So, they get to interrogation. They go get Chewie, and then Rey splits off to go get the dagger and the other stuff. Now, I will admit, the breakout was actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be pretty boring, standard stuff. Because they get captured, and they're about to be executed. And who else should oversee this execution but Hux? And then, because here's the thing. He's had history with all these characters. And he's like,
Yes.
no, I wish to shoot them myself. Because, again, he's had history with these characters, so it would make sense. And then thing number 2 in this movie I hate it. I actually hate it.
I'm like half and half on this.
Yeah, a little, but in the end, it did make sense to me. More so because at that point, throughout this movie, I was already understanding Hux has no place in this trilogy anymore because he's kind of become a joke. He's kind of become a meme, and because the setup for his character in The Force Awakens is actually pretty cool. Like he has some diabolical, crazy moments where he is a little bit of a meme, but The Last Jedi took that to the next level, and then they were like, yeah, we can't use this anymore, so let's just get rid of him.
I'm the spy. I knew it.
And to an extent, like I kind of, the moment I saw the way he was interacting at that conference table, when Ren got the helmet back, like I and they mentioned there's a spy in their ranks, I kind of got the feeling of like, it's Hux. He's still very pissed off about Ren pretty much making a joke of him and killing Snoke because he was a Snoke loyalist. So it makes sense that he would be the spy because he wants to sabotage Kylo Ren. He still wants his side to win in the end, I'm pretty sure of that. But like he's focused more on like, this guy beat me for the promotion that I wanted, so I want him out of the office.
I don't care if you win. I want Kylo Ren to lose. And then, thank God, one scene later. Not actually, technically the same scene. General Pride just shoots him straight in the gut, and that's the end of it. And I'm like, okay, listen, I felt nothing. I really, because as soon as they did that, I'm like, God damn it, you could have done something really awesome with this character. You could have had him actually get to the rank of Supreme Leader, but nope. We had to bullshit our way out of this one, didn't we? Oh, yeah.
Okay, and
sorry.
In the defense of Hux's character, the only reason that he ever got to the rank of general is because his father was someone in the Empire, a higher up, and that's why they just promoted him because, well, they didn't have any of the older Imperial guys, and they felt that was something that they could work with. But Hux was never that serious and that good of a leader. And it showed a little in The Force Awakens. It showed more in The Last Jedi. And at that point, like if you have that progression of the character, it makes sense that he ended here. It's just unfortunate that they didn't do more with him because I think he could have been cool. But instead of that, you get General Pride, who was fucking awesome.
Yes, he was.
Hux essentially fits the trope of white guys failing upwards.
Words. Okay.
I'll let that sit for a second.
Yep. Yes, I'm sure when Mitch McConnell watches this episode, he's gonna get real upset about that one.
He's gonna hide in his tortoise shell.
Right. Anyway. you know what? No, I was gonna make a point. Oh no, I'm still gonna make a point about this, just real fast about Hux. So hear me out. Wouldn't it have made more sense, at least from how that I'm interpreting this, for Hux to essentially try to force Ren out by being like, "Hey everybody, look at this! I found this footage of our dear Supreme Leader Snoke being murdered by our dear Supreme Leader Kylo Ren." You know, and trying to lead an uprising.
Because the screenwriters didn't want to do that.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Yeah, guys, that's going to be a point in my sequel trilogy update later this summer. Just a heads up. Anywho. So, while all that's going on, Rey and Kylo have another Force Skype call, and this time, you know, she's in his room. Ooh, hello. That's one way to get a girl to come to your room, I suppose. But
He doesn't know that yet.
He doesn't know that yet, you know. And if he did, I'm sure he'd be like, "Ooh, hello." You know, but
Hello there.
which, speaking of, boy, does it frustrate me that as soon as he says her name, out comes the lightsaber, and, you know, of course they talk for a little bit, and then they have a duel, and it's like, just, because he's just spouting off exposition, and it's stuff that's, you know, just keep building up the point that they're, like, we're already starting to figure out.
But I figured this out at Ochi's ship. So I'm like, yeah, I got it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But of course, I'm putting it off because I'm gonna say it when the movie says it. Halfway through the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Because speaking of Ochi's ship, she goes back to Ochi's ship, tells the droids, "Hey, go meet up with everyone else, get to the Falcon. I'm gonna distract Kylo Ren," who then comes in the hangar. And here's where we get the bombshell.
Hold on, but I just want to give C-3PO another thumbs up for a good comedy line of where he just starts speaking gibberish, and then the stormtrooper replies, "You're not even speaking a language."
That was funny, actually. That was funny.
And then Rey gives him a crossbow after she uses it herself, and C-3PO is like, "Ooh, my first weapon."
My first laser battle. Yeah.
Yep.
Rey Palpatine.
It's like, it's not even really. I mean, considering some of us might have been expecting like a clone reveal or something like that, the granddaughter stuff kind of takes you a little bit by surprise, but only if you were under that mindset of, oh, we're going to get something ridiculous like her being a clone from Luke's hand or something. But no, it took me out of the movie and made me wonder, okay, when did Palpatine ever have sex?
That's kind of the thing. What woman in this fucking galaxy was in her right mind when doing that?
Okay, we're assuming that the sex was consensual.
But that makes it even worse.
Yep. Because that's the only way it makes any form of sense to me. Now, that's only because the term is granddaughter. Palpatine was 83 when he died. Or sorry, 88 rather, because he was born in 83 BBY. So he was like 87, 88 when he died. Now, if the term was great granddaughter, implying that he would have, let's say he had been married before he became senator of Naboo. Maybe, but I'm still a little doubtful unless he was like truly living a double life where he was trying to, be a man of politics, but also be a Sith Lord on the side and not even let his wife in on it. Unless Plagueis told him to murder her or something. It's like,
no.
The thing is, I'm not even that opposed to the idea of it, but the fucking execution of it makes no fucking sense. Oh, and why is this? Because she and Ben are a Force dyad. That's right. we're really bringing back Knights of the Old Republic by creating a Force bond. That is literally one of the few things about that game that I love that I cannot fucking stand. Because...
Can we just say that this is fucking lazy writing?
Yes. It is.
This is so lazy. This is just like... That's the thing. This is something that where I honestly feel that they just give the big middle finger to The Last Jedi. Like, no. Not going to do that. The Last Jedi made it so interesting with Rey, with making her the nobody, with making her a character who could literally come from anything. Where that was such an interesting concept because, that was the entire point of the movie, especially with the ending scene. I discussed this last week when we were discussing about The Last Jedi, where I love the ending where you see the kid with the broom. It can literally be in anyone. So why not Rey? I mean, heck, Anakin was also a nobody because who the fuck was Shmi? So it can come from no one. All those Jedi in the Jedi Temple, do we know the backstory of them? Where did Obi-Wan come from? Where did Qui-Gon come from? We don't know, and we don't care. It doesn't matter if you have a powerful fucking backstory or not. The Force can reside in anyone. And this completely betrays that message from Last Jedi, where I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Not even like not even who can use the Force, but also like anyone can be a hero. That was the message of The Last Jedi too. Like, again, say what you will about Rose Tico as a character, but she is essentially the viewer being in the movie. Like, she is that person with a 9-to-5 job who fangirls out when she gets to meet her heroes, and she gets an opportunity of a lifetime to actually pal around with her heroes on a journey with them, get to inspire them in some way, and then be re-inspired by them in return. And this movie, The Rise of Skywalker, kind of undoes all of those feel-good moments of like, anyone can wear the mask a la Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Anyone can be a hero. Anyone can use the Force. Basically, if you set your mind to something, you can do it. And this movie is just like, it really helps to have a family legacy.
That was also like one of my favorite lines in The Last Jedi, where Luke is like, and my nephew Ben, with that mighty Skywalker blood. He kind of says it mockingly. I honestly feel that he says it mockingly, as in, that mighty fucking blood doesn't matter because it can reside in anyone. But we gotta have that mighty fucking bloodline because.
Because parallels.
This is something that a lot of people have pointed out and is so on point. This movie was written by Reddit.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, because, you have the parallels of Ben, who came from, the good, the quote-unquote good side, and then went dark. And then you have Rey, who comes from the bad side and turned good. But that's not very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to come out and say it. Like, again, the Force dyad is dumb. It also doesn't make a fucking lick of sense that, they have a Force bond in that regard when it's... Because, look, guys, let me level with you here. One of the reasons that I can't stand, like, I have some issue with the love story in Knights of the Old Republic 1, the only reason that you, quote-unquote, fall in love with Bastila is because, you are Force bonded to her. I can't stand that. Especially with the way that story goes. I swear I'm not going to spoil it, Nico. I almost did, but I kept that in mind. And don't worry, I'm almost done with episode 6. Like, I got like 10 pages done this week. So, we're getting closer. But, so, I just, okay. Anyway, moving on. Let's.
And one more thing.
Please.
Considering Luke and Leia are twins, a Force dyad would have made more sense with them.
Yes! Especially considering that their father was made from the Force. But no. We had, like, we had to have it between the two characters who already had their minds bridged and had very conflicting feelings towards each other, just to give them another reason to develop feelings for the other. And it's just, ugh. Why can't people just naturally develop feelings for each other in these movies? Anyway, so we find out that the Wayfinder is in the ruins of the Death Star on Endor. Yay, Endor!
A moon
Well,
in the Endor system.
Yes, yes. So either way, we're going back. We're going back to that part of the galaxy. Remember Endor from Return of the Jedi? I remember. And here we are introduced to Jannah and her group of former First Order stormtroopers. Boy, who does that remind us of?
Finn.
Also, the fact that this is a black person who was once a stormtrooper, taken as a kid to be a stormtrooper, and then deflected. Boy, we really needed that character, didn't we?
Yeah, because that totally isn't going to be something that's set up in a kind of a bit of a fuck you scene at the very end of this movie that involves Lando, but let's just say that for later. Or you know what? No, fuck. Let's get it out of the way right now because I want to end the show on a happy note. I hate the fact that she's Lando's daughter.
Is it confirmed?
It was just confirmed in a comic, I think, or in a novel, one of the two.
Does she know? Like, does Lando know?
No, she doesn't, and Lando isn't quite sure, but he's got a feeling.
Like, okay. I'm gonna say this now so that I can find a reason to be positive later on. But like any movie that is attached to J.J. Abrams or Chris Terrio from now on, I am going to be very, very skeptical about it the next time I see one.
I do not blame you. Now, actually. So Kees did put something in our private Facebook chat that you know what, I think I have to agree with. Unfortunately I do not have a break set up right now, but if you will give me like 30 seconds to make something, to just bring up an old break so we can take just 5 minutes and then hop back in the movie. Because you know what, I think this actually is a good spot to take 5 minutes, and yeah. Because
emotions are running high right now.
Emotions are running very high right now. I don't like feeling like this because we still have to talk about the stuff in this movie that I absolutely adored. And then get to my big old fucking rant. But we're going to, so yeah, just like say, you guys, just give me like another 30, 40 seconds. All right, here we go. There it is. So, yeah. We're going to take a quick...
I wonder about this movie, but it makes so many fucking stupid decisions that make no sense. They're so unnecessary that I'm like, why?
Yeah. All right. So we're going to be back in 5 minutes. Just bear with us. We'll be back in a moment.
Cool. Blasters. And... innocent, but like the moment you get there, you're like, I have a bad feeling about this. However, the moment that Nina and Nico meet, it's like, oh yeah, no, I ship this. This has to happen. This is our Kaz and Tora 2.0.
Yeah.
So like at that moment, I kind of forgot that about my suspicions, but
well. And that's actually kind of the power of, this episode where you would think, everyone would be distrusting of her. But of course, as soon as Nico trusts her, all of us, we're just like, guard down. Because we like Nia. She's a very capable engineer. And what does the Colossus need right now? It needs a very capable engineer who can fix it up.
Yes.
You should watch Tetsuo the Iron Man. A really wonderful Japanese film from the late 80s about a salaryman, just a regular businessman in Japan who discovers that there's like little bits of like circuitry and machinery growing out of his body until it just sort of overtakes his entire body. And there's also this other metaphor about another cyborg that's happening to, but he really loves it, and they end up getting in these really bizarre stop motion animated fights, and it's made on a budget of $50, and it's amazing. You really ought to check out Tetsuo the Iron Man. It's by a director named Shinya Tsukamoto. He did Tokyo Fist as well. Yeah, that one's pretty nightmarish. If you got a fear of cyborgs, see that movie.
No, sir.
Tsukamoto. Okay, thank you.
Damn it.
That's T.S. Tsukamoto.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Why are you helping?
there's actually a really great Shinya Tsukamoto story. Evidently, when Martin Scorsese was making Silence, he was auditioning Japanese actors. And Shinya Tsukamoto, who's also done some acting, he acts in his own movies, auditioned for one of the roles, and he just wanted to be in the same room as Scorsese. He had no agenda. He wasn't like, he knew he wasn't a great actor. He just knew he was an actor, and the casting agent said, "Okay, well."
And we are back a little early because, well, this podcast is going to go on long enough. I didn't want to keep everyone waiting too much longer.
This is going to be like the Joe Rogan experience where he goes 4 hours long.
Please no. I want to get some sleep at some point tonight. But we do need to get back into this because, so Rey, in her infinite wisdom, decides to go steal a skimmer to get out to the ruins of the Death Star. Of course, while all that's going on, Poe and Finn aren't happy about the fact that she went off there without them, and they have a little bit of back and forth, you know, which, again, guys, just quit fighting and just kiss already. It's too much to ask. But as she gets there, we see that I'm hearing some bits of music that didn't really fit.
No, absolutely not.
Now, it was wonderful that John Williams brought back as many of the old themes as he did. But good Lord, playing the music that plays when Darth Vader dies.
Yeah, that does not work, and especially the way that he mixed it. It's like everyone and their mother knows that music because it is one of the most iconic scenes of Return of the Jedi. It's a beautiful scene. It makes me cry like almost every time. So he plays it the moment that Rey gets to the point where apparently the Emperor's throne was in the Death Star. And that is the music that you choose. And you also mix it around in a way that it just doesn't fit. It doesn't flow naturally. There's no flow. And this is where I'm honestly frustrated by John Williams' score because he can do so good and he can reuse old themes. But I really think he was forced to use it for the sake of using a Death Star-like theme that we know and love. And this is, yet again, J.J. Abrams with your member berries in your face, where the biggest missed opportunity in terms of score will come in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, it will. Because she gets it. She gets the Wayfinder. She finds it, and that's where we have that dark Rey, which I knew that was a vision. So
everyone knew that.
Yeah, called it. But it scares her, and she drops the Wayfinder by accident. Who should pick it up? But I thank God, maskless Kylo Ren.
Also, can we address the fact that no one saw Kylo Ren coming? He was just there.
You know what? I didn't think about it too much, but yeah. He just showed up out of nowhere. No one noticed his ship coming into the atmosphere. Like, his
ship is literally standing on a platform that everyone can see from where they were.
Yeah. By the way, there he is. Which leads to, they talk for a bit, but, you know, he's calm and collected the entire time. He's trying to be friendly here. He's trying to be civil. He's trying to just have a conversation. And she's just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. until he breaks the Wayfinder and basically, being like, hey, listen, I want to get rid of Palpatine. I need you to help me. So I will destroy this so we can both take him out together. But she's just like, no! Draws her lightsaber, and this leads to the single scene that I hate the most in this movie. I hate the duel. It's a great fight. It is an honest-to-God great fight. But I hate it.
This is the Phantom Menace duel. This is a duel.
It's a duel that's so bad it made Kees froze. Look, my main issue with this duel.
I'm curious to hear what his point was.
Yeah, okay, he's back. He's back.
Oh, I'm back. I'm back now.
You're back.
No, I was saying that this, honest to God, felt like a prequel battle where there is a lot of flashy, cool stuff going on, but there is no emotional weight to the fight. There is no reason for them to fight, and I'm honestly like, why are you guys fighting? And I'm like, okay, they start fighting because Rey is mad and Kylo just wants to buck her off. Actually, he doesn't use his lightsaber for the first couple of swings that she has, which I thought was cool. But there was a point in the fight where it just became way too long. Very much like the Revenge of the Sith duel, where I'm like, I'm invested at the beginning, but it just becomes too long. And honest to God, I wanted Kylo at one point to say, stop. And just stop dueling, and like he would start to explain that they don't need to fight, and there was some, like, I don't know exactly how it would play out, but like I remember in the scene he should have said stop, and he should have said something to convince her there's no need to fight, because this was frustrating. And the biggest frustration, this duel, if there was ever a moment to use this is where you use Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes.
Because as Kees, okay, sorry, okay.
It was because John Williams is great at making a score for a duel.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it?
And there wasn't one, and it was, dude, come on. Like, you have all this great choreography. You have all of these great visuals going on in the background. You have the water everywhere, and it looks impressive, and it's great. And, John, why couldn't you? Oh, also, John Williams is the bartender in the bar on Kijimi. Fun fact.
Oh, that's who that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, then... I can't hate this fight, though, because of the end result. Because the ending of this fight is so fucking powerful. But, okay, to talk about why I hate this fight, I'm going to reference Jeremy Johns' Revenge of the Sith review real quick. In that review, he talks about why in lightsaber duels, at least in the original trilogy, whoever lit their lightsaber first was the one trying to pick the fight. And more often than not, they were the person that was going to lose. Episode 4, Obi-Wan picks the fight with Vader because he draws first.
No, Vader already has his lightsaber activated.
Sorry, never mind. Empire, Luke draws first.
Yeah.
He loses the fight. Return of the Jedi, Luke draws first, and while sure, he wins the fight against Vader, he technically loses the fight overall. Because Vader has to save him from the Emperor. They actually do. They actually do. Maul draws first. He loses the fight.
Yeah.
Anakin and Obi-Wan draw first. They lose the fight.
Fair enough.
And then Revenge of the Sith. But Revenge of the Sith, it's a little too complicated because it kind of depends on who's fighting whom. Sure, Grievous draws first. He loses the fight. But Anakin and Obi-Wan draw first against Count Dooku. They win the fight. So again, that movie notwithstanding.
I thought Dooku drew first.
No.
Yeah, you won't get it away this Dooku. Zing, zing, and then the Sith lightsaber. So yeah, it's Anakin and Obi-Wan do first. The Grievous battle, Obi-Wan already has his one lit because he just took out the droids, and then Grievous is like,
Well, so that just proved my point. And then,
However, the Jedi who face Sidious, they lose the fight, and they're all in there with lightsabers already.
yep.
So more often than not, whoever draws first is the one who loses the battle.
Yes.
Not this
And
one.
twice now, Rey drew first in this movie for no fucking reason. Like, literally, all she had to do was just listen to what he had to say, and the fight would have been stopped. They wouldn't have had to fight. They could have taken the Emperor together, and then the ending of this movie wouldn't have happened. But no. Instead, she had to draw and really try to kill him. Like, really try to kill him. Until, oh, wait, she does. Because Leia intervened in the fight.
I have to ask, is this what JJ and Terrio think is the idea of a strong female character, someone who will draw their blade first and be the aggressor in the fight?
Yeah.
Is that why she's doing it?
I hope not, but it does come across that way. And it's very frustrating because when this fight's over and she actually stabs Kylo with his own lightsaber, because he does drop it when Leia intervenes, which, you know, I thought was actually a really cool moment. And again, she stabs him. He's dying. He's going to die right then and there. And then she says that actually rather poetic line, "I wanted to take your hand." Ben's hand.
I'm okay with this.
I'm totally okay with this because, you know, it just shows that what should have been the theme of this movie is balance. You need the dark and the light together in order to achieve balance. So she heals him, of course, and that will lead to the best scene in the movie later. But, of course, she steals his ship. Why? I have no idea, but sure.
Yeah, she steals his ship to go back to Octo. This scene was bullshit. Should not have been in the movie.
Yeah, we'll get there in a moment. But with her reaching out to Ben, Leia sadly used up all her life force to keep her son alive, and now she's gone. And as that's going down, Poe, Finn, Chewie, and the new recruits who are with the First Order troopers and their horses all head back to the Resistance base, where they unfortunately get the news that Leia is gone. Holy shit. Chewie in this scene broke me.
Like, Chewie didn't really get a lot of time to grieve Han. He just kind of reacted in rage and shot his crossbow directly at Kylo. So, but he that was the most he got to do for Han. He didn't really get to grieve Luke either. And so, but Leia was kind of like the strongest of all of them. She was the one that held that team together. She was the smartest of them. She was the most determined out of all of them. And so, like, she was just like, "Mom, no!" And so,
sister-in-law more like, but
family dog. It depends on perspective, I guess.
He's not a family dog to me. He's a brother to Han.
Absolutely. No,
either way, he's heartbroken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him dropping to his knees was just that. Yeah, I just waterfall. Yeah, a puddle. It was beautiful. And this is why I said in a spoiler-free review, Chewie's never been better than in this movie. Chewie has some of the most heartfelt, good, funny moments that we love from Chewie, because he's such a good companion with the group, and you love him, and he has such a good connection with everyone, and he was so good. And seriously, Jonas taking over for Peter Mayhew, that's phenomenal. It's flawless.
Honestly.
I'll say this though, and it might have to do with, again, the fact that everything is taking place within a 16-hour period in this movie, and we're kind of rushing through it in 2.5 hours. But to me, it felt like we get that emotional scene from Chewie, and then the next moment we see him, he kind of gets over it pretty quick and heads over to the table to hear what the plan is to handle all the Star Destroyers of the Final Order. So, like, felt like he got over it way too quickly.
No, because Dominic Monaghan still gives him that pep talk real fast right before they take off.
Yeah, thank you, exposition train.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, it tis what tis in that regard. But then, so while all that's going on, we have what I just can't deny it. It's the best scene in the movie.
Well, it's really good.
Kylo is standing by himself on the platform. And you want to talk about feeling conflicted? The woman who was just trying to kill him just saved his life. And he hasn't known how to feel about her for years. They don't know how to feel about each other because, there may be something there. And just to make things even more confusing for him, it's kind of reminding him of a certain decision he made involving his father. And then as soon as I heard the words, "Hey, kid," and then we turn and actually see Harrison Ford there as a memory from Kylo, I'm like, the scene's going to hurt me in all the best ways, isn't it?
I just want to say this is Terrio's work, and I can tell because they did a similar thing in Batman v Superman, where they had Clark talking to Jonathan on top of, what was it, Mount Everest? So like those chats within your memory, like that's straight out of his playbook, and that's something that he does that actually works. It's emotional. It's basically like it's a good way of the main character figuring out their thoughts and setting them on the right path.
And to be honest, I love how everyone's trying to say, well, because they're using the same dialogue from that last encounter, it's lazy writing. No, it's not, because that was literally the conversation they had during their last encounter. He has not said anything to his father since. His father hasn't really said, like, he's basically saying his own thoughts through his father. And to me, that scene makes perfect sense. And then, of course, what better way to top it off than to have Kylo just be like, "Dad?"
I know.
And I'm like, oh!
This is a member berry at its ripest and juiciest.
And I am guzzling it down my throat. So when Kylo takes his saber and throws it in the ocean.
That hurt me. I love that crossguard saber.
Yeah, I do too, but still.
No. I know. It is a very powerful character moment and good for Kylo, but I love that crossguard saber.
Here's what I would have rather done, and this is just me. I would have rather him done what they did in the Ahsoka novel. Purge the red energy. Like heal it from its bleeding that got it its red color in the first place.
And then give it the white coloration.
Exactly. Like, show that he has been fully reformed.
Yeah, but no, we gotta have that shot at the end where they're both standing with the blue lightsabers, even though that doesn't make sense, but sure.
And I kind of love that, but we'll get there in a second. So, then we come to, apparently, Case's other scene that he doesn't really care for in this movie. Would you like the camera strictly on you, sir?
Oh, if we were talking about Octo,
Yeah.
I'm a little conflicted about this scene.
Oh.
Because
I thought you straight hated it.
No. Part of me is like, why did we go back to Octo? Because Ray suddenly has that thing like, oh no, I want to die here now, just like Luke in the last movie. Mhm. Then she throws her lightsaber into the fire, and Luke catches it as a Force ghost. Does it work that way? To quote Han Solo, that's not how the Force works. I feel at least. So that was weird, but sure. Um, but yeah, she gets turned very quickly to just go back again. And of course, you have the Wayfinder there, cool, whatnot. It's like, in that regard, it's a little bit of a throwaway scene. I didn't feel, but it was beautiful for one moment. And it's Luke lifting the X-wing out of the water with the exact same score as Yoda had it when he did it in The Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite scene of that movie. And I'm like, this is a beautiful closing of Luke's character because we've come full circle. He couldn't lift it then; he could lift it now as a Force ghost, and I was like, this is beautiful, and I cried and I fucking loved it.
I'm also kind of mixed on this though, and so what I like about this is that Rey is essentially feeling the same doubt in her brain that Luke was that drew him to the planet in the first place. Rey is the one who helped Luke see the light in The Last Jedi and helped him get back on the right path to fulfill his arc. Now Rey is in doubt, and Luke is essentially taking what she taught him and regifting the knowledge back to her to be like, hey, listen, I got to straighten you out the same way you straightened me out now. And so I'm okay with that little wraparound. And like, even he realizes, and so like, I don't see this as much throwing away what was done in The Last Jedi as so much as honoring it and showing that this is one of those things that can just happen at times. Like, people have moments of doubt and they need someone to put them back on the right track, even if it's someone that they put on the right track when they were feeling doubtful at one point. So
If I had $1 for every single time that I gave someone advice, but I never took that same advice when it was given, or what, like they had to give that advice back to me, I could buy us all brand new computers.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I kind of like at least the reveal that Leia had a lightsaber. The scene in which we get to see the flashback of her using it, CGI was not
Okay.
totally perfect there.
The CGI on Luke is perfect. The CGI on Leia, Rogue One was better.
I'll agree to that. But strangely enough, the part with the X-wing, that was the part that I was kind of iffy on because, like, I felt like, okay, it feels like we're just hammering the old beats to make you feel good, and I'm like,
But Last Jedi and Yoda with the Force lightning.
I don't know. This was member berries for him. Like, very clearly member berries with the score and everything, but I loved it. It was beautiful.
I mean, to me, it makes too much sense when you take Last Jedi into consideration with that.
Yeah.
maybe I'm being a little picky with the X-wing scene, but
Oh yeah, and I'm not being picky with Ray starting the fight each time. That's what this
no,
conversation's
I
for.
think
This podcast is about being a little nitpicky. It's fine.
I think you're actually
picky.
making a good. I think you're actually making a good point with that. And the more we get into this conversation, the more I'm realizing that, like, there are a lot of dumb things that happen in Star Wars, but we're willing to forgive it because there aren't that many dumb things that continuously add up. This movie has a lot of things that are adding up, and that's kind of shaping how we feel about this movie and the discussion that we're having.
What I'm hearing, by the way, from we all three have different opinions on scenes, specific scenes and specific moments in this movie alone, which already shows there are so many opinions to be had on certain scenes that, yeah, like no one really would agree with anyone on this movie, I feel.
No. And which is kind of weird because even though I've gotten most of my negativity out of the way, Yeah, except for like I said, the big rant. From here, the movie just goes up. It goes up, and I am just. Speaking of, let's get in a good mood then, shall we? So, Ray hops in Red 5, takes off, starts heading to Exegol. While she's on their way there, the Resistance figures out how to get to Exegol and what to expect when they get there. And that's when they start to take off, and that's when the plan comes into fruition that they're gonna go take out the nav tower, while Chewie and Lando go get backup. Because of course they can do that in 2 hours time.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. And can I now point out one of my biggest gripes in terms of this movie? Look, I know that in Return of the Jedi they essentially do the same thing, so that is not my biggest issue. But yeah, Finn and Poe get promoted to the rank of general just like that. But they do the same thing with Lando and Han in Return of the Jedi. But there's one big issue I have, considering there is a ship in this movie of a old rebellion general that I feel could have been a perfect fucking role, but they didn't. Because if you introduce the ghost in the fucking trailer, please let Hera be a general. It doesn't matter for shit that she for the regular audience, because we're already apparently okay with fucking Dominic Monaghan showing up in this movie. If he's a nobody, then at least Hera will have some meaning to some canon fans. But no, the ghost is missed opportunity.
Yeah. Nico?
Yeah. So I just want to touch on the fact that, like, right before the promotion of general is given to Poe, he's having a conversation with Leia's dead body underneath the sheets.
After he got
That's
the
after.
promotion.
Oh, well, either way,
I think
it's
you
just
mean
like
before Poe gives Finn the promotion.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Well, he does. He has the conversation with Leia, and while she's dead, and he's basically just talking out his thoughts and saying, like, I don't feel like I'm ready for this. How did you do it? And granted, he's a Latino, but it felt again like the white guy failing upwards trope was kind of like he's uncertain. And maybe I'm being a little more choosy with this one.
Yeah, you are. You are really being choosy with this one, dude. What the fuck? Not everything is trying to say that all races who aren't white are bad, man. Come on.
I'm just saying, like, it's obvious that JJ loves the Poe Dameron character, and maybe is trying too hard to make him more likable in ways than he needs to be.
I wish that Finn had the same feelings about it.
Kees, thank you. Thank you for understanding my pain. So, but I will admit that brief interaction that he has with Lando in that scene,
That's nice.
loved it.
That works.
You know,
that worked for me.
I loved that a lot. And plus, he was getting it from the black guy, Nico, so don't worry.
So, me.
Sorry.
Calm down.
Sorry.
Calm down.
Sorry. All right.
I'm making a point about society more than the movie.
Well, yeah, but when it's kind of unneeded, unless the movie itself points it out, you're kind of forcing your point in then.
And this movie doesn't do its fair share of forcing its points?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, touche. Fair point. Ha! Anyway. Let's start to get into this climax, because I don't care that there are problems. I don't care that a lot of things don't make sense. I don't care that a lot of it is completely drawn out. I am literally on the edge of my seat the entire time. From the minute that Rey lands on Exegol, all the way up to when, yeah, let's let's keep going scene by scene.
Yeah.
And so Rey lands. Now, sure, we have, plot hole number 226 here, where Palpatine's like, I did not want to kill you. I wanted my grandchild to come home. And it's like, no, but you literally said to Kylo 3 different times, kill the girl. I'm like, okay, sure. Do the Sith ritual. All the Sith live in you. That's totally a real thing. So, great. Can we speed this along? Can we, have her just kill him?
This. No, okay, no, wait. I'll say this. Go on.
No, please.
Well, okay, so we have all those people in the audience. Is there a confirmation if they're real or not? If they're real, I have an explanation.
I have not seen anything about that yet.
Okay, because I think it would be the coolest explanation, and this would hope to God that this would be the one canon thing that they actually continue. In despite the fact that I don't like the book trilogy Aftermath, it would be so cool if the people in the audience were acolytes of dark acolytes who were like essentially fanatics of the dark side. Who in the Aftermath trilogy they have a couple of those interludes where they go away from the main story and focus on something else, and it's actually like confirmed that there are acolytes who found Darth Vader's lightsaber and are like they're religious nuts about the Sith, and if that over the years because Aftermath takes place a year after Return of the Jedi, so that's 30 years before this. If over the years they gathered that following to then get to Palpatine, I thought that would be an interesting theory.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that were the case, because otherwise, who would have built all of those Star Destroyers? Like, someone had to have built all those Star Destroyers.
And they were all staffed.
So I'm assuming that those people in the stands were real. They just might have been the more fanatical members living on the planet, whereas everyone we saw on the ships were like you go ahead and do the dark magic shit. We just want to pilot the ships and help take over the galaxy.
Also, we just want to stay alive. Oh yeah,
that too.
I forgot to mention that. One of the ships already made an appearance in the galaxy and destroyed Kijimi. Bye. Nobody gave a shit.
Can we also address the fact that this is yet another super weapon in the Star Wars movie? Are you kidding me? And this is also one of the biggest missed opportunities in terms of actually both Legends and canon, because the reason that canon brought it back because it was so fucking cool in Legends. The Eclipse introduced an Empire of War, Forces of Corruption. It is a huge super Star Destroyer with planet-destroying abilities, and it is so awesome. And right here, we have a fleet of Star Destroyers with all planet-destroying weapons, and none of them is the Eclipse. Are you kidding me? This is also yet another incredibly, insanely missed opportunity in terms of, like, why didn't we use that? The Eclipse was so cool. Why didn't you make several Eclipses? And you don't need to make 100 million Star Destroyers that are going to get destroyed like it's nobody's fucking business. Make the Eclipse and make it matter. Make one ship, make several ships maybe, but just make sure that it's a huge ship that they actually have issue with, instead of, oh no, we can just destroy them at the end without any big issue.
What is this fascination with planet-destroying weapons? Like, isn't there another way you can get your point across of taking over the galaxy?
It's called a massive factory that can construct invincible ship, Sith armadas or something like that. But you know.
Yeah, but no. Can't have the Star Wars.
Nope. And we also can't have the Sun Crusher, which does have that same ability as his Death Star, but it's way worse. Because, frankly speaking, you tell me, what's worse? Blowing up a single planet or going to a solar system and wiping out the power of its sun, thus killing the entire system?
Well, isn't that kind of what Starkiller Base did?
But it was another
used
Death
the
Star. But no, I mean like
No. But that's kind of what Star Trek Generations does.
yeah, it's like one of the only cool parts about that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, the rest is just fucking bland.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact confirmed in Jedi Fallen Order. Starkiller Base was in fact Ilum.
No!
You're fucking me.
It wasn't!
You're
It was
fucking me.
confirmed at one point. No!
Well, the game says it's Ilum. Like they harvested the planet's kyber crystals, and then turned it into Starkiller Base.
Oh no!
I'm not playing that game now.
Oh no! Fuck you, game.
I'm not playing that game now.
Oh.
I've apparently hit a nerve that I was unaware of.
Yep.
Chris and I have talked about this, and around the time The Force Awakens came out, we were thinking like, could it be Ilum? We didn't want it to be Ilum, and then it was actually no, it was confirmed at the time that it was a planet next to Ilum. It was a similar type of planet, but Ilum was still intact because it had kyber crystals, and the kyber crystals would have been way more interesting to implement in your movie, and they don't do anything. Oh shit.
Well, I might have listened to the Stupendous Wave incorrectly, so I'll just double check that after the video. But let's get back to the movie now, shall we?
I'm depressed.
Oh fuck.
I didn't realize this was gonna have the reaction that it got.
Oh, it's not your fault. It's the game maker's fault for doing now one of my top 10 most hated things in Star Wars. Thanks Jedi Fallen Order. I appreciate it. Anywho, yes, back to fun. Because the rebels, the resistance showing up right on Exegol, and it's basically the airborne version of Saving Private Ryan. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm loving this dogfight. I'm loving the death. I'm loving the destruction. And all the while, Palpatine is just continuing to taunt Rey with taunt after taunt after taunt. And I love how she is still trying to fight. She's still trying to be better than him. Like, how she gives this whole speech of like, you try to have me hate, but I won't hate. Even though Palpatine's 100% right. Your anger and your hatred will never let you be a true Jedi. And it's like, yeah. She has way too much anger and hatred in her heart, as we saw earlier in the fucking movie. Anywho, as all this is going down, I couldn't help but notice, wait, why are we randomly cutting to a shot of Rey's X-Wing? Oh, but then, there's Kylo, and he shed the cape, and damn.
His outfit is raw. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I really do. It gave me some serious Anakin Episode 3 vibes. And I dug the hell out of it. So he charges in, pretty much breaks his leg as soon as he lands.
Oh, yeah, and of course, Palpatine wants her to sit on a Sith throne and destroy him and whatnot. And at first she's like, no. But the moment she senses Kylo, and she's like, oh, I can stall for time. And she's doing that.
Yeah. Which, I appreciated that. I actually didn't notice that till the third time I watched the movie.
And I didn't notice it till the second viewing.
But I appreciate it. So, while that's going down, again, more people are dying and shit's going down above in the space battle above. But while all that's going on, we have something we've never seen in Star Wars before, technically speaking. Combat on top of a Star Destroyer. And I will admit, that was fucking cool. That was cool. Really fucking cool.
I mean, at least in live action, we've never seen it. We do
2003
in the
Clone Wars, yes.
Yes, the on-ship battle with Sase Tin. We do see it there.
But, and to be honest, I think it completely delivered. I really loved how the fight was going, and I loved how it took a couple different directions. Like, the Resistance didn't have the easiest time, but they also weren't just getting their ass kicked the entire effing way. So, balance. Isn't that a wonderful thing? So, while all that's going on, Rey gets to see the battle going on overhead, kind of like Luke, or just like Luke, you Return of the Jedi. I didn't mind. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, but to be fair, they did that already in The Last Jedi.
Shit.
When Snoke showed, I'm like, they already did it. Because that's the thing. In my opinion, what they essentially did was Force Awakens was Star Wars and Empire, and Last Jedi was Empire and Jedi, and then do something new. But no, they do Jedi again.
Basically. So that's going on, and Rey finally agrees to kill him. And so he's doing his thing, the ceremony shall begin. Getting real all Ian McDermott-y, and I love him for it so much. Until when she goes to swing her blade back, she's holding it to her face, but then she sees Kylo. Or sorry, not Kylo anymore. Ben. She raises the saber back over her arm like this. Here. As though I were doing my famous move in the fan leagues. And then when her hand comes back.
Wait. Yeah? Do it.
All right. And then, boom. Pulls that.
Ha!
You are welcome,
that was-
Internet. You are welcome.
That was super lame.
Don't care. Loved it. Because... Sorry, go ahead, Nico.
I will admit, I did enjoy this for that part first time around because I didn't expect it. It caught me off guard.
And I thought it was a really inventive way to sort of pay off what their bond was able to do.
Yep.
Because on the one hand, it was getting a little frustrating when the movie started operating on Nightmare on Elm Street logic by, if these two are interacting and one can pull objects from one place to the other, why couldn't they just pull the people? But whatever. It's fine. Because Kylo is getting his ass kicked by the Knights of Ren until he gets a lightsaber, and then he just destroys them all, and it's pretty effing cool.
Yeah. Can we also say that they completely wasted the Knights of Ren in this movie?
I'll agree to that.
Yeah. Again. Set dressing.
Later this summer. So, all that's going on, and Rey is, of course, fighting off all the Imperial guards, and then last one comes up, is taken out by Kylo, and there they stand together, side by side. I know it's kind of bugged you, Case, but to be honest, I was being like,
It's a cool shot.
Yeah, I thought it was a very cool shot. And, of course, Palpy is not having any of it because, now he's doing a move that in Legends has been around for fucking ever.
Yeah, it has.
But in canon, this is not a thing.
No, because it's too OP.
Well, at least to the level it got in Legends. Because the idea of literally removing someone's life force from their body...
Yeah, life drain.
I'm fine with that. I think it's a great
By the
power.
I love that power in KOTOR.
Dude. Yeah. Which also, I think this was also JJ's way of trying to say, oh, no, see, kids, this is how Padme died. She didn't die of a broken heart. It's like, okay, listen.
It has been confirmed that it's not that.
Yes, but my headcanon says otherwise, so I just go with that. But so he sucks out a little bit of their life force, enough to knock them out, which is why certain things are gonna happen in a few minutes. But of course, the fight's still going on, and like now the rebels or the resistance are really getting their asses kicked. You know, hell, Snap Wexley dies. The wedge of this trilogy dies, and I'm pissed. I'm fucking mad because I love Greg Grunberg and I loved him in these movies.
Yeah.
Fuck
Did
you,
he
JJ.
do much though?
Did Wedge do much in the original trilogy?
Oh, he just survived the 3 battles.
Exactly, and he's still one of my favorite characters. Partially because I read a bunch of his adventures in the books and games and whatnot, but still.
Yeah, and then they fucked Wedge over in Aftermath to introduce Snap Wexley, essentially.
Kind of. Yeah, you're not entirely wrong. So, all that's going on, and Poe is just like, shit, guys, I don't know what the fuck to do. You know, there's too many of them. And then, of course, finally we have, on your left, oh, sorry, I mean, there's more of us. And we see... This is such a fan fiction moment, but I don't care.
I
A
don't
bevy
care.
of ships, I say. A bevy of ships, I say.
Yes. And we have what is, in my opinion, the third best usage of the Star Wars theme in the actual like movies.
I just want to say one thing real quick before you talk about the music here. This moment where we see all of those ships would have been a little bit better if they had been more subtle with the teasing of it with Poe. He constantly kept saying, I don't know if anyone's coming. I don't know if anyone's coming. I'm sorry, everybody. I've let you down. And then we hear the Lando on the comm. There's not much subtlety in there. So it kind of like made you realize, okay, we're getting this moment. We're getting this moment at some point. And it kind of took some of the spark away from it.
For you.
I mean, look, is it completely obvious? Yes.
Oh yeah.
But when you see all the ships, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. That's just, yeah, thank you. I don't care how obvious and pandering this is. This is just fucking awesome.
I literally am. I give no shits. I'm like, yep, movie. I don't care if you haven't quote unquote earned this. This is awesome. Let's go. More. I want to see imps just getting blown up. I want to see TIE fighters just shot out of the sky. I want to see Star Destroyers go crashing down and be like, yee! Until Palpatine has to interfere with the fight and has his most OP moment of the movie.
What was that? Force Maelstrom times 12?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Can we just say this was Legends brought into a movie?
And this is probably why Legends were pushed away, so we wouldn't have weird moments like this.
Made Legends. There was a reason that we made Legends, because all the stuff in there.
Okay, in fairness, this is still tame compared to some of the bullshit in Legends. But
compared to canon and movies.
But this is like the only force power I have an issue with. Fair enough. And in fairness, it's only problematic just because, you know, so Kylo gets up and then Palpatine's like, just as I fell, so falls the last Skywalker. You know, and make sure that it bends out of the way. Rey gets up, draws her saber, and then Palpatine presumably used that same amount of force that he used took out a chunk of the fleet to attack Rey. And that really she blocks that. She blocks that same amount of power that took out a chunk of the fleet.
And she's
Now,
holding.
Now, in fairness,
she's blocking with one hand. I should mention.
Now,
like,
I'm a little forgiving of this scene just because right before this, you know, she's having her moment of be with me.
Be with me.
Be
Yep.
with me. So, you know, and it finally pays off. Because, you know, she was just hoping for someone to respond. She didn't necessarily care who it was going to be, but she just wanted somebody to respond. And oh, good Lord, did they. You know, I had the link up here for just... Oh, fuck. Damn it. Come on.
Oh.
There you are. Here you are. So, get a load of this list of all the Jedi who did responded when she called. Qui-Gon Jinn. Obi-Wan Kenobi. For some reason, both Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor, but okay.
Hello there, times two.
Yes. Anakin. Again, 2 different voices. I'm not quite sure why. You had Luminara Undali. Hey! You had Ayla Secura. Hey! Stas Ali. I'm never forgetting that one again. Ahsoka Tano.
I didn't
Kanan
forget her ever.
Jarrus. Yeah, shut up, Nico. I'm just glad I still won that match, but man. And then, of course, Luke, Yoda, and even though he doesn't say the line, I wish he did, kill that motherfucker. Mace Windu.
Yeah.
And was it a little bit cornball? Sure. Do I care?
I don't give a shit.
No.
See,
I
I
love
was
it.
fine. I was fine with all the I was fine with that part of like the fan mail in her brain of like, you got this, Rey, you can do this, we're cheering you on. It's the execution of her fighting back that I'm kind of iffy on, because again, Palpatine at his OP lightning is shooting everything at her. A good portion of her life force has kind of already been stolen, even though she has this morale boost from Jedi of the past. She's holding just one lightsaber out with one hand to block all this lightning. And then she tries to have an Iron Man moment here of when, like, I am Iron Man, I am all the Jedi. And
this was literally, I'm inevitable, I am Iron Man from Endgame. This was so much of an Endgame copy that I was like, seriously, guys?
She gets the other lightsaber, she force pulls it in, and she covers the other lightsaber with the other lightsaber, and I'm like, okay, how does 2 lightsabers help in this situation? You're still blocking the same amount of lightning. You're still just using one hand on one blade. Like I'm a little confused as to how this helps give you an advantage. But
It's a lot easier to deflect it back with 2.
Fair. Okay. But it still looked a little wonky to me.
Fair.
And it also shows that Palpatine's kind of a dumbass because this is the second time he's been melted with his own lightning. Like, you had 60 years to learn this, man, and you still didn't learn the lesson.
And here endeth the lesson, indeed, because, yeah, his lightning does go back in his face again, and this time, apparently for real. We'll see. We'll see what they conjure up next, I'm sure.
Please don't conjure up anything next.
Please don't, but you never know.
Let the past die. Let the past die.
But as the Imperial ships continue to be destroyed, the Final Order is no more. Rey sees what happened and drops her sabers because, well, she dead.
Yep.
Could she have stayed that way, please?
Kind of.
She's the one character I didn't want to die. Like, if you had killed off Chewbacca, that would have added more stakes to this moment here. Like, it would have made you think, like, oh no, they killed another one. Like, God, they're just dropping like flies here. There's a lot of consequences going on here. Then All of a sudden, out of the hole comes Pretty Boy Ben, and he's like, "No, heal, kiss. I die and disappear, and Mom dies and disappears on another planet." And I just like, fuck you, fan fiction.
I was about to say somebody else talk for a bit, because
Look,
it's almost time.
Look, the thing is, everyone, pretty much everyone, agrees that Kylo Ren is the best, or Kylo Ren / Ben Solo is the best character of this trilogy, not Rey. Rey was good, and I know that she's the protagonist, but wouldn't have been interesting if she was the one to sacrifice herself, all the Jedi stuff, to finally kill Palpatine and have that be meaningful, have that be the end of that, and then have Ben, the last Skywalker at that point, be, the interesting part where he would then have to essentially atone for his actions. But no, he decides to give his life force to Rey, which makes him die. And Chris, please, just please.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you know this little song and dance, for the last time of the 2010s decade, sing it loud and sing it proud. Grab your popcorn and grab your drinks because it's round time. So, in 2015, we got a little movie called Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens. And as a proprietor of fan fiction from time to time across various different fandoms, I like to think that I'm well up to date on my ships. I'm well up to date on seeing what kind of stories other people can tell in respective franchises. Just of the fuck it, but what if kind. And I had been seeing for a long time this ship called Reylo that consisted, of course, of the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo, and I couldn't fucking stand it. It sickened me. I'm like, oh my god, are you people that fucking desperate for a ship that you have to ship the bad guy with the good girl? Oh, for God's sake, I don't buy this for a second. And then The Last Jedi came, and holy shit did I do a complete 180 because, I thought that Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver, as good performances as they gave in Force Awakens, I sensed no chemistry between them. Whereas in Last Jedi, I got nothing but chemistry from them, and I'm like, woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, hello. Please keep that shirt off, Mr. Solo. Especially if you're getting her all flustered like that. Holy fuck.
Oh, dear Lord.
And then, The Rise of Skywalker, you dared to actually give the fans something that they wanted, only to take it away at the last possible second. Fuck you! Fuck you! Because you know what? Kees actually said it best. Kylo is far more interesting alive. There's way much more you can do with this story. And guess what, Disney? You fucked yourself out of a legitimate opportunity to do an episode 10, 11, 12 down the road. Because now that there are no more official Skywalkers, who's next? There is no one next. And you know what? Doubly fuck you, because you want to know something? As screwy as Legends got sometimes, they had some great Skywalker characters post the original trilogy. Cade Skywalker and Ben Skywalker, to name a couple specifically. But now they truly can't exist because you dropped the goddamn fucking ball. And yet, when all is said and done, I'm still satisfied with how this turned out. Against all logic and reasoning. But it's like, no, I still feel like he had to die, unfortunately. Like, there was just no other way to do it. Because, and let's face facts, unless the movie was like a half hour longer to where we could truly explore, Ben redeeming for his sins, this was the only way that it could really happen, is to have him make the ultimate sacrifice for the woman he loves, and that's it.
Yeah. But on the flip side, I do like how Ray's arc ends. Because like Ray goes. This is skipping ahead a little bit, but Ray goes to Tatooine, where she decides to bury the lightsabers. Again, that wasn't really needed, but it's a nice send off, I guess. But she buries the lightsabers. We actually see the original home of the Larsers, of course. And then one passes by like, oh, I haven't seen someone in a while here. Who are you? Ray. Ray who? And then she looks and she sees Luke and Leia. And because of the fact that like the Skywalkers to her have been the nice people. Like her actual name, Palpatine. That's the thing. Palpatine, she gives no shits about because, well, that's one of the worst people in the galaxy. So she doesn't want to be a Palpatine. So, and especially considering that Kylo gave some of his life force for her, essentially his last life force, that kind of makes her a Skywalker. And therefore, she's like, I want to take on this name, better myself for it. And this is going to be the end of my character arc. And that's why I was like, oh, that's a nice ending for her character. So at least there's that.
Okay, Kees, you just actually kind of won me over on that adoption of the Skywalker name, because when I found out she was a Palpatine, it kind of soured me on the whole Skywalker name thing, because like it felt like, okay, because I was actually a fan of Solo and how Han got his last name, because it's like, okay, he turned a joke into a Great Gatsby moment where he just like, okay, you made a joke, but I see potential in this to make a name out of this, to make my legacy out of this, and I like that he took charge out of a goofy situation and made the most of it for his entire life since. For Ray, it didn't feel as natural. It felt like it was trying to hammer another old beat, and it failed to execute. But when you mentioned that she was essentially given Skywalker life force by Ben, that has actually turned me around on it to an extent. Now the kiss. I was one of those guys who. Let me finish here. And I was one of those guys who didn't want to see Rey end up with anybody. I wanted to see her be her own character, because because Daisy Ridley spent so much time in interviews talking about how, can't we just have female and male friendships? Like, is that so hard to have in movies? Like not everything has to end up in a romance. And so like when they finally decided to have them kiss, I was kind of just turned off by it. Like there are better ships in Star Wars. One of them is in the Fallen Order video game, which I like it very much.
Don't spoil.
I won't. I'm just saying, if you do decide to pick up the game and the whole Ilum reveal hasn't soiled you on it, it might be worth checking out there. But like Kaz and Tora, we've been shipping that for a long time.
Sorry.
They're doing a natural progression build to the payoffs of those love stories. And in this one, it just felt like, again, Case mentioned it earlier, Reddit wrote this movie. And that's where it came in for me.
But here's where I'm going to actually disagree with you on that, and quite immensely, I'd even dare say. What won me over to them in Last Jedi was the simple fact of they literally, like, should have been the perfect idea of balance in the Force.
Yep.
And the fact that they, that Terrio and Abrams decided, no, we don't want to have a theme that ends this saga on the idea of balance in the Force, that you need the dark side and the light in order to be whole.
Yeah, we don't want thought-provoking writing. We want in-your-face member berries.
That's what sold me on them. It's why I think I've read 20 Reylo fanfics in the last week. It's why when Taylor Robinson makes hers, I asked her is finished with hers. I asked her to send me a link. Because look, you know what? To be honest, any love story involving Jedi in Star Wars now, I want that to be the angle. I want someone to finally fucking do that story of where you need someone who is balanced in the light and balanced in the dark to get together, make babies.
I mean, we almost had that with Dark Disciple, but I get your point.
Yeah, and how'd that work out for them? That was literal Star Wars Romeo and Juliet. I love that book for it. I know you're not a fan, Case. It's fine.
That's right.
So
Dark Disciple is a great book. I will say that.
But with that, it's just, they had it. They had it. Like,
You blew it! You had it all, you blew it!
yes! And yet, I'm still satisfied because that last scene, just that damn stupid smile on on Ben Solo's face.
Sells
What?
everything.
Yeah.
Seriously, Adam Driver should get everything. He should get everything. He should get the Oscar this year for Marriage Story. He should get all the roles in all the blockbusters and the indies and all kinds of movies that he wants because he is so fucking good. And that smile at the end, it says it all. It's like, yes, please, yes. And then your heart gets broken.
Yeah. I mean, just. All right, so let's wrap this up. Yeah.
This is so frustrating.
What are you about to say?
Chewie gets a medal, and that's not his first medal.
God damn it. I remember this comic panel, by the way. I remember this comic panel.
Okay, to be fair, that comic is terrible. Don't read it. But there is an official canon comic in where Chewie, right after the Battle of Yavin, goes off on his own adventure, saves a little girl, and gets a medal for it. Hence, Chewie got a medal. For all the butthurt fanboys crying, Chewie didn't get a medal.
In fairness,
he did get a medal.
In fairness,
Yeah.
the medal he gets at the end of this movie was Han's.
It was Leia's.
Or, sorry, Leia's, rather.
It was
Still.
Leia's. Yeah, no, I get that. Still, this is pandering to any butthurt piece of shit asshole who tried to say something. Fuck you. Fuck this stupid ass pandering fucking screenwriting that has been throughout this entire fucking movie. And I get it. He gets a fucking medal, but he already got it. So he didn't need this scene. You never needed this scene. This is only because, JJ, you have no fucking clue what you're doing with your fucking movie, especially after The Last Jedi, especially what came before in canon. You are so stupid when it comes to writing a Star Wars movie that fits with canon, fits with legends, fits with essentially everything that we want as fans. So, in the end, gosh, this is so frustrating to have in this movie, and it's so pandering. And yet, the thing is, I hate and love this movie at the same time. Because then what they do at the end, they give Rey a yellow lightsaber, and it made me squeak. I loved it.
I'm coining it right now. We should call it the King's Blade because it looks like a crown. It's got a golden blade. Her name literally translates to king. This was setting her up for the crowning moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Kingsblade. Let's do it. So, when all is said and done, what can I say, guys? I still love this movie. Against all logic and reasoning. Against every argument that I just made about every scene that I just despise. I'm still satisfied. I'm still fine with it. I'm still happy that it ended the way that it did. I'm still happy with a lot of the choices. And I don't get it. Sometimes I don't get myself. In all
No,
honesty.
me neither.
But I can't help it.
Oh, Nussbaum, The Return of Wicket. I like Wicket. I like the Ewoks. I'm an Ewok sympathizer, but there's no reason for them to be in there.
No, it was the exact same like the end of the special edition of Return of the Jedi, where they go through all the planets showing that they're liberated. It was Jedi again. This movie is Jedi.
And lest we forget, Endor was saved by a Holdo maneuver.
I don't want to hate this movie. I really don't. But it's giving me so many reasons to hate it.
I think I said it when I finally was able to get on the call. First time I saw this movie, I was disappointed. Second time I saw it, which was today, I was basically uninterested because I knew what was going to happen from having seen it once already. And like I just so many things in this movie take me out of the experience and make it hard for me to enjoy it. Now, this conversation might have helped turn me around on a few things, but still, like if we never get another Star Wars movie, I'll be fine because we've been getting a lot of good content on television and in the video games and in the books and in the comics. Whether or not you've been able to keep up with all of them is entirely dependent on how much money you have and the person that you are and the amount of time that you have to invest in all of these. But still, like the fact that people are communicating with one another and saying, okay, you've got this story point. We'll touch on it here in this way. Will that work? Won't it work? They're having conversations to flesh out the galaxy, much like what has made the MCU what it is today. And these movies show that there were cracks in that system of communication. Like we went from, and not just that, but also in terms of Solo as well, even though that's part of a different era of Star Wars, it's still made in the Disney umbrella. We've had too many issues with behind the scenes with people not syncing up, not getting their stories straight, and it's caused a lot of problems that the TV people have not been having. So if they had just waited and formulated a plan.
If anything, the TV people fixed some of the issues that the movies can fix.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I just keep Star Wars on TV for the next couple of years. And Rian Johnson, when we do get to your trilogy, which I hope is still happening, because so far you have shown that you can do the best with Star Wars in movie format in this era. Yeah. You're gonna piss some people off, but you're at least taking risks and taking chances and experimenting with the lore and helping it grow, or as opposed to just relying on member berries. And I applaud you for that. So whenever your trilogy comes out and whatever the topic of choice is that you focus on, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you're in contact with everyone else who will be helping you make this movie so that the stories are straight with the rest of Star Wars lore.
Damn. That's pretty powerful there. Here, Kees, since we're done talking about the movie, why don't you give some final thoughts and have one of those moments?
In the end, The Rise of Skywalker is a mess. It is extremely problematic. but I don't hate it. I hate moments, but I also love other moments. The movie still makes me cry at times, and I'm like, like I do enjoy watching it. I have fun watching it, but it is extremely problematic. So I can definitely see like people who hate this. I'm like, yeah, I can fully join that conversation. People who love it, yeah, sure, I'll join that conversation. I'll see what you love about it. Now, of course, some people are really talking out of their ass because there are some Star Wars fans these days who are just sick of the negativity, and they don't want to focus on the negative and focus on the positive, and therefore they will kind of be oblivious to anything that's happening. And I'm like, okay, at some point, at one point, that gets obnoxious. Chris, not you, because you are at least able to explain that certain things don't work, either for you or you are able to understand why they don't. Now, there is a page that I'm a member of that of people who just say, "I loved it, it's my favorite." Of course, recency bias, but
Yeah.
it's kind of obnoxious at one point. Um, those people exist, and I'm like, sure, I will kind of ignore that. But I also kind of want to ignore the haters who just hate on it for the sake of hating, because I'm like, I did enjoy some parts of this movie, and it is a movie. I'm going to see it probably at least twice more in a theater, even though I've already seen it twice. But that's just me being a Star Wars shill. I will watch anything Star Wars, and I do legitimately enjoy big parts of this movie. Therefore, despite my rants, despite my annoyances, I like it. But it's kind of like Revenge of the Sith, where I like it, but it's got a fuck ton of issues.
And for me, that's kind of it on the money. Now, the big difference between this movie and Revenge of the Sith, at least for me, is Revenge of the Sith came out at a time when I really needed it to. And I had nothing else in my life to look forward to. I'm in such an opposite place personally now as to when Revenge of the Sith came out that I kind of didn't need this movie to do the same thing. But that said, it's a movie that, yeah, you've heard me talk. I have some issues with this movie. I have some very legitimate grievances. But when all is said and done, not only do I love this movie, I think it was a satisfactory end of the trilogy, and I think it was a satisfactory end of the saga. But that fucking said, Disney, I said this last week and I'll say it again. Don't ever make another series of movies without a plan. And it doesn't matter which side of the fence you fall on in regards to these movies. As long as you can talk about it in a healthy capacity with people that you care about, and you're not a complete shithead about it, I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think I'm wrong. I don't care if you think I'm right. Just talk about it. Have the conversation. Have the dialogue. Because that's why we do what we do. And even though we haven't gone for a long fucking time, I do want to close out on this before we completely close up shop. Since all three of us are here, thank God. Thank you, Comcast, for taking a break from fucking Nico. As we come to the end of the year and the end of the decade, a small part of me can't help but be extremely excited and extremely nervous for what the 2020s are going to hold. But I am going to say this. I couldn't pick two more people that I'm more excited to go into this journey with than these two knuckleheads.
Aw, shucks.
Aw.
And I'm actually kind of serious about that because, Kees, you've been my ride or die for 3 years now.
Yep. 3 years, yeah.
And I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, me neither.
And Nico, 2 years ago, I hated your guts.
You and a whole
So
lot
did
of other
I,
people.
by the way.
You know, but
I was an acquired taste.
you
I was
were.
definitely an acquired taste.
But and now look at us. I I I can't picture what what this channel is without either of you. I can't picture what my personal life is like without either of you.
We've literally traveled the country together.
We have. And next year it's going to be all three of us traveling, hopefully at least to a different part of the world together.
Yeah, if Shimoda just comes to Europe, that will be neat.
Hey, if they make London happen, I will come out there.
I'll come. How's that?
I've been wanting to check out the British wrestling scene for a while, so I'll definitely come out there too.
Perfect. So yeah. Again, I'm kind of kissing all of our asses here for a second, but I feel like I kind of have to because
Hey, 2 years in a row nominated.
yeah.
I'm gonna consider this my first year because I was only with you guys for about a month when you got that first nomination.
To be fair, we were only running for like 3 months when we got that nomination.
True. So, but still, fair enough. And it's just crazy. It's all just crazy. So, obviously, I can't thank the both of you enough for doing this, and for all of you guys. I know I said this in the Christmas address, but give yourselves a fucking pat on the back for helping make this channel happen. Because yeah, we do it for you guys just as much as we do it for ourselves. It's why I'm still in this business, because I had a chance to walk away last year completely from all of this.
And you did for a while.
For a little bit, I did.
I got you back then.
But I couldn't be more grateful that you did, Kees. So, with that,
and one more thing.
Yeah, please.
It's nice to know that in 2020, it's not just going to be the three of us.
No.
Like we're going to grow this family. And like it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in the year of 2020, in the decade of the 2020s. Like sky's the limit for us.
It is. And boy howdy, is it going to be fun. So, I suppose I'll just simply say, guys, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if we'll be on for the very next Friday, because I won't. Okay, because I got a couple things coming up myself, so we might take the next week off, but we will be back after that, and it won't just be this show. It won't just be our Schmodown reactions. It won't just be, at least Resistance, because Mandalorian's done after today. But it'll also be Nights of the Podcast. It'll also be our watch-alongs. It'll be Nico's Comics show. It will be Down-Tune Dissection, back better than ever. And we cannot wait to have you along for the ride. So, of course, like this episode, please, if you are watching this on the replay, comment down like a maniac and tell us what you liked and didn't like about The Rise of Skywalker. Let's continue this conversation. Or shit, do it on the Facebook page. Do it on Twitter. Let's continue this conversation because holy shit, I love having these conversations. But until next year, until next decade, until next time, Kees, where can the good folks find you online?
You can find me tomorrow facing off David Garcia in a Star Wars title match over at the Movie Trivia Face Off. I again have a title match coming up. I lost my previous 3, so that's not a good record. But it's Star Wars, so I'm of course hoping to turn it around. So check that out when it drops. Also, I just shared a meme in the Facebook page, which I think is very funny. It's a little stupid, but whatever. It's a Facebook page. You can follow me at Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, Kees Cornelisse on Facebook and Letterboxd. Yeah, we review Resistance. I will be hosting watch-alongs next year, movie watch-alongs. So if you want a certain movie to be in a watch-along included, then let me know in a post that I made in the Facebook group as well. Because already a couple of people have done that. But if you haven't done it, let me know what kind of movies you would want to see on the watch along. Of course, we will try. At least I will try to make it more towards a movie that is coming out that week, like maybe of a certain actor, director, or franchise. But let us know what you want to see us like do a watch along to. Because it's just us watching a movie, commenting on what we think about certain scenes, and hopefully you guys can be part of that conversation because we will be doing that live. And I think that's it.
All right. Nico, the Suave one himself, where may the good folks find you online?
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random meaningless numbers at the end on Discord. Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestlin, the number 2. There is no letter G. I am the TMG Entertainment Chokeslam Debate Wrestling Champion of the world. Case, don't worry, you'll be joining me with a belt soon. And of course, you can find me right here on Dedicated to Art and all the places these two gentlemen have said and or will say in just a moment. Trivia for Thon 2, 16 big matches over 5 channels from January 17th to January 24th. There will be a special Who Cares Anyway podcast on January 17th in relation to Trivia for Thon 2. We don't know what the topic is going to be yet, but we'll figure that out soon and we'll have it announced for you guys. Again, 16 big matches, 5 of them title matches, and we're all doing this for charity for the 4 Diamonds Pediatric Cancer Research Fund as part of Penn State New Kensington's Thon fundraising efforts.
Exactly, because as we saw with the loss of our friend Paul Preston's wife Karen Volpe on Christmas Eve, fuck you, cancer. Fuck you. You horrible fucking disease. And of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Dohmen. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A Channel. Please like our Facebook page, join our Facebook group, keep up with the conversation. Catch me obviously hosting this show. Catch me hosting Nights of the Podcast, our Star Wars show next year. And you know what? Speaking of Star Wars, real fast, one more time for me. I'm kind of glad the movies are done. Because now I can start to re-explore my love of Star Wars through the other mediums. I can get caught up on the books. I can get caught up on the comics. I can get caught up on the TV stuff. I can start rewatching the TV stuff. And that excites me. It excites me so goddamn much. It's going to be a wonderful time. But until, well, as I said, next year, next decade, next time, you know what to do. Take care!
Yeah!